From the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is live coverage of the 52nd edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. It's Balloon Fiesta Live. And now, direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are your hosts, Art Lloyd Jr. and Ted Maes.
And good morning, good afternoon,
and
good evening, and almost tomorrow.
And nearly Tuesday in Australia.
There you go. It is day 3 at the 52nd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It is our first morning of competition. It is New Mexico Day with opening free admission for everyone from New Mexico. First time we've actually done that, and so we're excited about that. Welcome, and thanks for joining us here on Balloon Fiesta Live. I'm Art Lloyd Jr., along with my partner, Ted Maes, this year, and I think we're in for a good day today.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Last night was a little breezy.
Yeah.
But it looks like today's going to shape up to have some great competition out there on the field, and we're going to have that half the people leave the field this morning, and then we're going to have a bunch of people down there with you.
Yep.
Flying in, and we don't know what the competition is yet.
Right.
But we will hear shortly once I get the pilot briefing in.
Exactly, which is getting underway as we speak this morning. We'll
Yes,
go over there and check on the weather and see what's going on there. I am feeling the very typical drainage winds that the stuff that when we feel that, we know we're into the regular type of wind cycle. What happens is the wind at the surface kind of comes draining down the valley, so from the north to the south. We're feeling that today. A lot of times that does mean we're going to set up for a box once the sun comes up and things get moving that way. So we're looking at the wind forecast and the current conditions at winds aloft, and we're thinking there could be a box.
I'm thinking once that sun crests the Sandias, we're going to have some pretty interesting flights into the field from our competitors once we clear it with that with the non-competitors getting off the field. You know, when I got here this morning, Art, it was, I think, 58 degrees, so we've dropped off to now 53, so it's probably the coolest morning yet that we've had. We see us both in jackets.
Yeah, we're both in fleece jackets. Not the heavy jackets yet, but no, we're there.
But,
and part of that's that drainage wind.
Yes, absolutely. It comes right into our rooftop studio here.
And I'm on the north side. I'm blocking it from you.
Yeah,
I just figured out that's why you haven't had to have the jackets on.
That's exactly right. I'm like that balloon in the balloon glow in the middle.
Yeah, protected on all sides by all the others.
There we see the Chick-fil-A balloon getting ready for Dawn Patrol. That's Craig Kennedy. And I think that's Tim Taylor right behind him there. So that's some good signs that they're out there getting ready for the Dawn Patrol, and we'll be able to see what the winds are doing now.
Yeah, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We'll see what the winds are doing now. But as we all know, once that sun comes up, things change in that micro atmosphere that we always talk about. So
what a great weekend we've had so far already. And like you said, a little bit breezy last night, a little bit of a competition. We did more of a cell phone glow last night.
Yes, we did.
Which was actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And right down here at Sponsor Hospitality, it was like we had stage lights on us. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. So if you've not watched or you missed any of our previous broadcasts, of course, they are all linked at balloonfiesta.com. Search for Balloon Fiesta Live or just click on this year and the live stream there. All of those are there. Of course, we have a drone show in the morning. It's a different drone show at night. We're not on until the drone show in the morning has already ended, but we recorded it the other morning. And so we do have that online for you to be able to take a look at as well. So we continue to, once the show is over, we make a link to it on our Balloon Fiesta Live page so that you can go back and watch any of these, as well as the past 7 years worth of Balloon Fiesta Live, because this is year 8.
Wow. We're coming up on that decade here soon.
We are.
I think it's fantastic. You know, and what's even better is you get people that watch this show from all over the world, all over the country, and you think that there's a lot of people there. There are a lot of people out there that know a lot about ballooning. There's a lot of balloonists that are on there. But I just saw something come up on the chat room. Someone asked, what is the box? Tell me again what the box is. So I think it's
That's what I stand on so that I'm not so short.
Well, I can tell you that growing up here in Albuquerque and being a pilot here, both Art and myself are pilots, that the Albuquerque box is a weather phenomenon that's only found in this area of the country. I've flown all over the country, and although you kind of get some semblance of a box, we have low valleys and high mountains right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and at different altitudes you will get a different wind direction. So you can typically take off in a spot, go to another altitude, get a north wind, and then come back south at a lower altitude or maybe even a higher altitude. It really depends, especially when it's light and variable, and you can literally land and take off within the same spot. So it's almost like you're steering the balloon.
Right, and normally steerage is you go up, you come down, and you, as you said, winds go different directions at different altitudes. So you put your balloon at the altitude with the wind taking you the way you go, although the way you want to go may not be up there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So, yeah, because of the river and the mountain, yep, it's great. That's why it's called the Albuquerque box, and it's usually here.
That's right.
It's usually here. We haven't seen it the first 2 days, but everything's looking like we may see one today, which is perfect for competition because if you're on the wrong line when you come in the first time, you go up and you go back and you come around and do it again. And I think you were telling me one time you did 7 passes?
7 passes with Tony Polito years ago when we were launching out of the north field above Roy Road over there.
Yeah, you could go just across the field and launch from there. Yeah,
that was 1 nautical mile away, and it was so congested that he says, lay down in the basket and you direct the traffic. Not that I could technically direct the traffic, but I was telling him where the people were coming in.
Well, that's that extra set of eyes, watching what's going on.
So that was a lot of fun. It was intense. It was challenging. We didn't win anything that year, but I think the next year he actually grabbed some money off of a pole.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
And we flew the same balloon, so everybody thought it was me when he actually did that, but I was chasing him, and I didn't even see him do it. I was somewhere else down on 2nd Street, I think.
So did you get credit for it?
No. There's no way Tony would give me credit for that.
Yeah. Craig Kennedy just texted us in, and as you mentioned, Ted, he's flying the Chick-fil-A balloon, and it looks like they're going to be flying some crew folks this morning. In fact, what did he say? Yeah, so he's got some other folks out there with him and going to get some crew hops in today. I also have seen pictures on our screen there of some of our Rainbow Riders balloons already with some cold air in them as well. At least, it shouldn't have been them. Maybe it was more of these guys.
Well, it may have been them just setting the parachute tops in the top, getting prepped. Yeah, it's the sooner you can get prepped out there, the better. You want to be ready to rock and roll when it's time to go.
Yeah, because we're still 50 minutes away.
Yeah, they're there
sunrise.
right behind them. You can see I believe that's Brad Rice right there.
Yeah, So that's what I did think that they're there. They're at least laid out, and they're not really going cold, but they've put a little bit of air in to kind of. Yeah, like you said, maybe get the top set. Because when you pack this up, this huge amount of fabric gets crammed into this little tiny bag. And when it comes out, sometimes it gets a little twisted. And if you get all those twists out, I mean, it's not a bad thing. You just want to get them out before you do anything. There's our going hot with our Dawn Patrol. So we can see how many of them are out there now. But anyway, you're trying to get all that untangled, and the more of that you do before you truly turn the fan on for real to get the cold air in there and go hot, then it makes things just a little bit easier for everything.
Yeah, there's Tim Taylor right there. This is his 34th year at Balloon Fiesta. He's out of Salt Lake City, Utah. That's a pretty shot right there.
There it is. Yeah.
As they're coming up. And we've got a fairly good crowd for New Mexico Day.
Well, that was the intent.
For a Monday, it's not bad.
And usually on Monday and Tuesday, competition days, we have our Dawn Patrol, the guys that we're watching now. And then we'll do our kind of mini mass ascension when about half the balloons take off from here. The other half are going to fly in. And that's kind of what happens here on the field. I mean, obviously shopping and all that other stuff. But this morning we're going to have some entertainment on our Main Street stage as well. It'll be actually happening during the last part of the competition.
And there's all for New Mexico Day. I believe there's some mariachis and all sorts of New Mexico themed.
Yeah, Baye dance company and a mariachi group there as well.
See Greg Lindsay right there, second to the right, and Chuck Schick, I believe he's from Bosque Farms.
He's all the way on the right.
far right, yes.
He's all the way on the right.
Matthew Grote, I think, is right in the middle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, yeah, that's Matthew, and then Tim, you've mentioned. And then the far left one is going to be Rick Jones and Polar Dawn. One of our longtime viewers on Balloon Fiesta Live actually got to fly Dawn Patrol with Rick yesterday.
Nice.
So that was fun for them.
Good morning from Belgium. So good morning to you in Belgium. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All the people all over the world that watch this, it's amazing to me. You know, I see people all the time when I travel, and when I tell them I'm from Albuquerque, the first thing they say, of course, is, "Do you know about hot air balloons?"
Yeah, the balloon place.
Yeah, just a little bit about hot air balloons. So
yeah.
That conversation may become longer than they really like with me at that time. And if my wife is with me, she's like, "Oh God, I'll just go shopping for a while." You know.
Yeah.
I'll see you in an hour.
Yeah, over here on YouTube this morning, Charleston, South Carolina is checking in. Stafford, Virginia. The South RV lot, okay?
The folks in Jackson, in Michigan are watching again, so.
Excellent. Ontario, Canada. Wiley, Texas. The Netherlands. Just got home in time from work in the Netherlands.
Nice.
That's why they say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And, of course, we've got folks from Australia. Yeah.
Yep. It's almost Tuesday. I'm always trying to get a day ahead of you there, Art.
You are pushing the end of this.
No, I love to take in every moment of Balloon Fiesta. It's just the best time of the year. The fall, as we get these the cooler air, and again the people. This is a big family event, and there's no place else that you can go and just see the smiles on people's faces, and especially the people who've never been here before. So if you've never been here before, mark your calendars, or if you're within a state radius, we still have next weekend coming up.
Yep.
And you could come out here and see something that you've never seen before. I'm telling you, it's jaw-dropping. I had some people drive up from El Paso, and they love football, so they were having too much fun tailgating at their home party the last couple nights. But I think they're going to come out during the week this week. Hopefully they'll get out here. But they've never been, and they just live 4 hours away.
And even if you have been here, every day is a little different, with 550 balloons and 100+ special shapes, and the way the wind patterns are, it's going to look different every single day. Similar maybe, but definitely different every single day. Hey, good morning from Tampa, Florida, from Rio Rancho. Our chat's even getting into it. Good morning, Albuquerque, and good afternoon, Europe, they say. Edmonton, Oklahoma, Scotts Bluff, Nebraska.
At Indianola, Iowa over here. Go Hawkeyes. All right.
Another one from Virginia and Wichita, Kansas. Gail's already at her desk at work. All right. Yeah. Cody Park, Colorado, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Melrose, Massachusetts, Winchester, UK, Longview, Texas. Hi, Eric. So we talked about the pilot's briefing underway on the west side of the field, and they're getting to the weather section. So let's eavesdrop on what the weather forecast is.
Temperature there is 59 degrees, dew point 35, relative humidity 41%. The wind was out of the northeast, 030 at 6 knots. Visibility was unrestricted, sky condition clear, and the barometric pressure was falling at 30.30 inches of mercury. Over at Double Eagle, like I mentioned, down to 48 degrees, temperature of dew point of 32, relative humidity 49%. Barometric pressure was rising there at 30.33 inches of mercury, and they were reporting a calm wind. So here's what we're looking at on the broad scale. We've got this broad area of high pressure across the western portions of the United States, and that's going to lead, it's going to stick around much of the week, so it's going to lead to great flying conditions, I think, potentially every flight window for the remainder of the event. But knock on wood, right? So here's what we've got this here's what we've got this morning is we've got, it's kiss of death. Here's what we've got this morning is that we've got Santa Fe that temperature difference is about 12 degrees or so between us and Santa Fe. So we are seeing that drainage. But like I mentioned, it was already set up earlier this morning. So given that that's the case, we've seen an acceleration in the low-level winds, and that's the challenge. So I'm pulling up the profiler here to show you that at 300 feet, we've seen an acceleration in the winds over the last hour or so, all the way up to near 20 knots just at 300 feet. So that 300 to 800 to 1,000 feet is very fast. And once we see the Dawn Patrol pilots get up there at altitude a little bit, I think you'll see that they'll really start to pick up in speed as they go south. What happens with that layer is what we're going to really watch. And we're launching a wind sonde here at 6:30, so about 15 minutes from now. And then we're going to send all that data out via Remind. So that's why it's really important to have that Remind information and be signed up for it. We're going to get you that data so that you can help make a safe decision on what you want to do with your flight this morning. Like I mentioned, we did see it increase to about 20 knots or so. Just recently, it's dropped back down into that 15 to 17, 18 knot range, but it's still brisk. I'm not going to lie on that. And the question is that I do expect that layer to moderate with time. But there may be a period when it starts to mix down towards the surface and the surface winds increase for a time. And my best guess on that at this point would be like in that 8:30 to 10 a.m. time frame when you're all trying to land. So that's why it's really critical to kind of get an idea of what that inversion temperature is. And that's what we're going to do a wind sonde for. We'll have a sense of when the surface warms above the inversion layer, then we'll start to see that surface layer increase. I will say in the TAFs, they've given a very optimistic outlook. The forecast for Albuquerque Sunport is 360 at 8 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and sky condition of clear. And then from 8 a.m. to noon, they have a wind 350 at 5 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and sky condition clear. Similar to Double Eagle, they have a wind 340 at 5 knots, visibility unrestricted, sky condition clear. Check. And then at 10 a.m., they bring the wind out of the south.
That's probably fine.
At 160. Yeah, at 160.
Yes, sir.
Somebody else want to talk? So we have winds at 10 a.m. coming back out of the south at 6 knots, visibility unrestricted, and sky condition at few 15,000. So my thought is that I do think that wind is going to switch around, but if that drainage, like we've seen, that acceleration in the drainage, I think that north to south flow in the near surface layer is going to stick around probably through the morning before we start to see that switch out of the south and come back to the north. So given that that's the case, I think it's going to you're going to have it's going to be similar to yesterday direction-wise, where you're going to be headed down towards Albuquerque Sunport. The difference is that you see in the profiler data that 1 to 2,000 foot layer is really, really light and variable, probably some sort of north or coming out of the east taking you back to the west. Then above that, we have a box, but it's a really tall box. And to get the speed and to get the speed in the top part of the box, you have to be willing to go to 4,000 feet. So it's really slow till you get to probably 3,000 to 4,000 feet, and that's when you'll actually start to see some actual real progression to get back to the north. So we have a box, but it's not an ideal box because it's a really tall box, and you have to work to use it. My biggest concern, as I stressed this morning, is the speed layer. So we're going to send that wind sonde out, and we'll provide additional information via Remind. For those that are flying competition this morning, we have the wind profiler data. So if you haven't found that website, it's down at the base of the tower here for the QR codes. So make sure you're using that throughout the morning. Just a quick heads up, we have had some challenges with the profiler data. So if you see something really screwy with the LiDAR data, which is the lowest 500 to 700 feet, where that's that finer data resolution, switch to the south option. We've had less interference down there, so switch to that option if you see this direction changing and getting all funky, because it shouldn't. It should definitely stay out of the north through the morning hours. Okay, so density altitude at Albuquerque Sunport is 6,100 feet. So again, we're still dealing with those warm conditions, so be aware of that in terms of your fuel usage as you're flying this morning. Okay, I've got Ariana and Jackson this morning with the help of the pie ball.
Well, there we heard it.
Brad?
Yes, a box, but
Yeah.
you have to go very high to get it.
Yes, very, very high.
Yeah.
4,000 feet. So you'll see competitors do that, especially those guys in the racers. They'll love to do that.
Guys will definitely do that.
Absolutely. So,
so it could mean you got to find that that's perfect launch site to get that line to get here to make your pass on the target.
scream up to 4,000 feet and play around what you have to do if you don't get that at a lower altitude. Absolutely. So.
And while there are those serious competitors here, I would say that probably at least half of the competitors are more of the fun competitors. I'm going to make that shot at it. I'm going to give it my best shot. But if I don't get there, it's okay.
Yeah, I competed a couple years, and I really didn't care, whether I got in or not. It was just a fun thing to do.
Bragging rights when you got here.
Yeah, and I got close one time to ringing a pole, and I came in. I had some people from Tucson with me. And I told them exactly what we're going to do. We launched over here on the east parking lot. And I said, we're going to pop up, we're going to go north, we're going to come right down across the reservation, and we're going to come right down the center of the field. And we did all that.
Right.
And then I realized I was really close to one of those poles. And I remember you guys calling it as I was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
And I flew a Firefly, so we started swinging because we were a little bit further away. And you guys were laughing at us, but we were moving towards the pole, and I got so close, I threw it out. I have this great picture that someone took, and you can see the ring going towards the pole. It hit the side of the pole and rung right off.
Oh, no.
And that was a real quiet ride all the way down to the RV park. But it was fun. It was fun.
Hey, you got close enough to actually throw the ring.
Well, even better was that the passengers felt good that everything I told them we were going to do was going to happen. So that was a fun flight.
This, as we continue to move on, pilot's briefing continues to go on. We, after we've gotten the weather, we're moving on, so you can see that they're paying attention. Every so often you see them take a look off to the side, look at one of those Dawn Patrol balloons, although they did catch that fairly quick wind. So there they are looking from the north out to the south. They've already passed over us.
And if you notice it, the altitude they've received, that they've gotten to, they're slowing down. They're not going as fast as they are as they went down here. Yeah.
Which is exactly what we were talking about. And that wind song that Brad kept referring to, basically a pie ball, a helium balloon going up with reporting data on it about how fast am I going, what altitude am I at, what's the temperature, those types of things. And then they'll send all that data out to the pilots so that they have that. And then the profilers and the LiDAR radar that he was talking about, devices at both the north and the south end of the field that are basically vertical wind radar, so it measures the speeds at those different altitudes.
Right.
We typically think of radar, kind of where are the storms. This radar actually looks at the wind speeds, the particles that are in the wind. That's what it's bouncing off of.
Right. And Brad and his team, because this is the first day of competition, they have been out here since, I believe, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So this is it's a pretty tough job for those guys. I know that I got my first text from him about 3.
Yep.
So I don't set an alarm when I'm out here. I just rely on Brad.
Hey, in addition to being New Mexico Day here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, it is also our Thank You Navigators Day. We'll have a thank you party for them about 11 o'clock this morning. And our navigators, as have been for the last 3 years, are sponsored by Xfinity. And a few moments ago, I saw the Xfinity balloon.
There it is right there.
There it is. Getting some cold air put into it. There's the POW balloon behind it as well.
And they're an integral part of this whole event. Without the navigators, it would be very difficult to put on the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, sponsored by ExxonMobil, or powered by ExxonMobil, I should say. I think there's over 1,000, correct?
More than 1,000, and if you think about it, there's really kind of like 18 staff people. So 18 people can't put this thing on. And we all each have different areas of responsibility, but when it comes down to getting the work done, it's let's get the navigators in here, and they work year-round. Many of them work year-round. Definitely the work picks up in August and September, and there's I think we're sitting about just under 1,200.
Yeah, and thanks to all of those volunteers that come out here. each and every day to make sure that your experience at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is one of the best events in the world. The other thing is I know that we'll be done here in, the next 8 days, and then you guys will start planning it all over again.
Actually, 2025 is already in planning. The 2025 Balloon Fiesta calendar is already produced, out for sale. And of course, hey, a lot of people don't know this. For the last 5 or 6 years, we have put videos inside the calendar.
In those QR codes.
In the QR codes in there. For many years, when DVDs were big, we used to produce a DVD, or even before that, a VHS tape of the highlights of Balloon Fiesta. As that technology kind of aged and kind of went away, then we said, well, what can we do here? So we started embedding videos in our calendars, which we've done for a number of years now. And actually then we start releasing those videos when the month comes along. So just 8 days ago on the 1st of October, the October 2024 video that folks were watching on the calendar all year, now that's available for everybody. But you can look at all the 2025 videos, their pictures. There's more than 40 minutes of video in the 2025 calendar.
So that should take us up to our next point. We need to start getting you out there to buy some stuff. Yeah.
How do you buy the rest of the stuff? How do you buy this calendar? So you can come here on the field and head off to our merchandise tents. But we know that, obviously, here on Balloon Fiesta Live, a lot of you are watching because you're not in Albuquerque, and that's great. So how do you do that? You go to balloonfiestastuff.com. balloonfiestastuff.com. And if you don't want to type that out, just scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. That will take you to Balloon Fiesta Stuff. And then shop. Put that calendar in there. Get the program. Get your favorite pins. Get your patches. And there's a whole lot of other merchandise available as well, including sportswear, jackets, and T-shirts, and hoodies, and hats, and sweatshirts, and just all kinds of clothing that is there. Throw all that stuff in your cart, and when you go to check out, enter the discount code Fiesta24. Fiesta24 is the discount code, and we'll take 10% off all of your clothing, the clothing part of the items that are in your cart. It's a one-time only use, and it's only going to be good until October 15th. So you want to do that shopping now. It's a perfect time to do it while we're doing some other things. And so scan the code. That takes you to the store. Bookmark it. Sign up for What's Up Wednesday while you're there, a weekly email about all the things that are happening. You would have already known about this code if you are known to watch about to get this code if you had been a subscriber of What's Up Wednesday. So do take advantage of that, and then when you get that calendar, you'll be able to enjoy 40 minutes, more than 40 minutes of video and from Balloon Fiesta.
Well, I guess my mother-in-law's getting a new calendar.
Well, there you go. The other part of 2025 is that the theme for next year has already been chosen.
And I believe on Friday is the release of the new bumper sticker with the theme for the next Balloon Fiesta.
That's right. So you're around the field on Friday, you'll be able to pick up the bumper sticker for 2025. So yes, we're already underway on 2025, but all the big stuff gets going right after.
So one last thing on the navigators. Let's say that I live in Michigan and I want to be a navigator, or let's say I live in New Mexico and I want to be a navigator. What do I need to do to become a volunteer at Balloon Fiesta?
So in the early part of the year, somewhere, and I don't remember the exact dates, January, February, we'll open the application for navigators. So on balloonfiesta.com, you'll go to the navigator page. You'll click the submit an application to be a navigator. We'll take those. We'll get you up to speed. We have a video training series for you. So you can live anywhere. We've got people from a guy from Germany who's been coming here for something like 30 years and volunteering here. So, yeah, you can, it doesn't matter where you live, because most of the work, as we said, is basically in the 4 or 5 days before Balloon Fiesta and throughout the weekend for a couple of days afterwards as well. So, yeah, we can help you out. The folks in town, obviously, we can put you to work all year. In fact, a lot of people come in right about Labor Day. They start setting up the RV lots. Some of those folks are here. Right. There's a lot of folks that do that work. So, yep, online early in the year to be able to sign up for being a navigator. It's kind of like being an official photographer for us. The application for those opens in mid-March. It's open till mid-April. So things happen early on in the year to get involved with during the year. All right. Hey, so we have got a special guest here on the rooftop studio with us.
Yes, we do.
Craig Clausen is here with us. Craig is the grandson of Chuck Jones, and if you remember those cartoons, especially with the Roadrunner
Meep, meep.
Beep, beep, yeah, that was his granddad, Chuck. Craig, you've been out here for a number of years. Good to see you again this year.
Good to see you guys.
Good
nice
morning.
to meet you this
Yes.
year. You guys are doing a great job. I listen in when I can. So,
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, it's a great. Yesterday was phenomenal. Today it looks like boding well.
I think we're going to have a great competition
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yep, we are. So a few years ago, we did a lot of stuff with Roadrunner Coyote and the rest
Yep.
of the characters there. But now, and that was for our 50th anniversary.
Right.
Now they're having an anniversary of their own.
Yeah, so Roadrunner Coyote, hard to believe because they look so good, 75 years old last month. So
Wow.
1949, Roadrunner Coyote were created by my grandfather. And so 75 years, really inspired out here in the Southwest. You know, the Roadrunners chasing each other. Coyote, just a figment of Chuck's imagination that he brought into the chase. So 52 years now with Roadrunner and Coyote being part of this. Barbara and Peter recreating the balloon 2 years ago, and I saw it go by yesterday, so I don't know if you probably saw Roadrunner Coyote beat
we saw it
by.
too. We saw it inflating on Saturday. Yep, and they're planning to fly this morning. I've talked to them already this morning.
Yeah. I brought. There's a 75th anniversary pin, so I've got one for each of you guys.
Oh, great!
And
great.
So yeah, we're out here again on the field, you know, with the gallery and the art,
The gallery
and
and all
the
that
Chuck Jones
stuff
Center
out
for
there,
Creativity, and they're a motorcycle company called Janus Motorcycles out of Indiana donated a motorcycle to the Center for Creativity.
Oh, wow.
One of our artists, Ben Olson, who was here last year,
Remember
and,
Ben.
working with the kids and everything, spent over 100 hours painting that motorcycle. It's a one-of-a-kind work of art. It's on display over here. And for a generous donation, it can go home with somebody from here.
Wow.
Anywhere in the country, actually anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the
it's
world.
worth at least going by and taking a look at the artistry of it. So.
Taking that out.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about the Center for Creativity.
Yeah, so founded 25 years ago, the whole mission is to inspire, ignite creative thinking, particularly young people, but we do programs with autism groups, with seniors with mild cognitive impairment. We've really spread out. We've done programs in 18 states. Arts-based, but it's not about teaching art. It's about allowing that inner creative genius to come out that's unique in every person. And so, you know, whether it's preschoolers or junior high students, it's all about allowing them to exercise that part of them that for the most part, by the time when people get out of school, it's sort of gone or it gets killed. So we try to encourage that or rekindle it in our programs.
I've heard a lot of people talk about how we kind of teach creativity out of kids as they come through school. And so kind of stifle that. So the Creativity Center, or Center for Creativity,
it's
kind
an
of brings that back.
augmentation of it, trying to keep that alive or to reignite it. And you're never too old to reignite that part of yourself. So actually, I was over with Barbara at a school, magnet school, over on the east side. And
For Albuquerque Aloft? On Friday.
Yes.
The Friday before?
Albuquerque Aloft. Yes, exactly.
You guys were out at San Antonio.
That's right. And so we've been talking about for about 3 or 4 years, Judy Nakamura, how do we get into the schools here? And I talked to Rio Rancho. I've been talking to folks from all over. We would love to get the Center for Creativity programs out actually into the schools. We've been doing it here for a few years.
Right.
And we've served, I don't know, about 50,000 people just here on the field.
Yeah.
So we'd love to get out to all the elementary schools and beyond around the area and the state.
Excellent. Excellent. So what's ahead in the next 75 years for Roadrunner Coyote?
There's actually there's some new animation being done. Ben, I don't even know if I can say this, but he's been working with J.J. I know he's been working with J.J. Abrams. Am I supposed to say this? I don't know. On a piece of animation, secret. I have not seen it. He can't really tell me a lot, but he's been working on it for about 1.5 years. It's going to be released next year. It's not necessarily Roadrunner Coyote, but it has something to do with that. That's the best that he has told me. But we met 15 years ago, and he has just grown into this incredible artist. Now he's becoming an animation director. So Roadrunner Coyote continues to live. Next year, I'll give you a little sneak peek. You're talking about 2025?
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny turns 85 next year.
No
way.
Next year is going to be
way.
the year of Bugs Bunny for us. So
Wow.
yeah, look forward to that. So we'll see how much more we can collaborate out here on the field, and hopefully Kids Day, and there's a lot in the works.
Well, it's
Excellent.
fantastic that you continue with your grandfather's legacy. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How old were you when you realized who your grandfather was and what he did?
You know, we grew up with him. He was our grandfather. He never wanted to be grandpa, so he was always Chuck to us. But although we thought it was really cool that he'd bring 16 millimeter films down, and we watch them in the living room with a Bell and Howell projector, you know, that little it was the greatest feeling. And,
That was the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. 3 or 4 years old, learning how to do that. That it was cool, but it really wasn't. He wasn't famous. No one really knew who he was. It was really probably when I went off to college. You know, it was the late 70s, early 80s that he all of a sudden people started to go, there is a guy behind these magical moments and these works of art. So he would. Then he was asked to go start touring to do art shows. He was traditionally trained as a traditional artist, and so using that talent and 60 years of animation skill and developing these characters, he would tour the world going to art galleries. So that's when I was like, wow, he's pretty cool. And he really was. I got almost 40 years with him. He died in 2002 at the age of almost 90. And he lived a full life, over 300 films that he directed during that time. And
Amazing.
he was anybody, and people come into the booth here and say, you know, I met him back in the 90s at the gallery in Santa Fe, you know, back in the 90s. And you know, he was the most kind man. He was the most generous man. He was very humble. He couldn't believe that all this continued, because they made it for themselves, because they never knew when it was going to go into the theaters.
Right.
It was, okay, when is it going to go out? And then there was no determining if it was going to, you know, play again.
Right.
No one envisioned television in the 40s. Well, maybe they did, but
or
certainly didn't talk
definitely
about
not YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, where you can see all this stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and they continue. I see, you know, the intelligent parents are sharing it with their kids. You know, that's what I keep telling them. And they are. The kids come in and they're going beep beep, and other people are, oh, Marvin Martian. And so they're doing their voices as they come in, but it's fun to share. When you come into our booth and you visit, the smiles come up big, and it's just the most satisfying thing.
Just like when balloons go up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. The partnership has been great.
Yeah.
Craig, great to see you again.
Good
Craig
to see
Clausen,
you guys.
grandson
Thank
of Chuck
you.
Jones, and celebrating 75 years of Roadrunner Coyote and 85 years of Bugs.
Next year. Yep.
Wow, I cannot believe that.
Crazy.
I'm going to try it. What's up, Doc?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, you're going to make that left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, the
too,
left
right?
turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah. One of the cartoon channels has been playing that little clip a lot in one of their commercial types of things about the left turn at Albuquerque. So that's great.
Established here.
Yeah, you bet. Craig,
Great
thanks
to
for coming
see
by
you.
and seeing us. Great to see you as well. As we continue to wait for sunrise to come up here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, a couple of those Dawn Patrol guys went up there.
Yep, and they're coming back over the field.
Yep.
Not 4,000 feet, but they're coming back, but they're coming back slow.
That does not look like 4,000 feet.
Yeah, I think we're setting up for a beautiful competition day, and once that sun crests, we're gonna that surface wind here should calm down a bit, and we'll see some of our non-competitors get off the field, so you can get down there amongst everyone, and let's have some fun today on New Mexico Day, Monday.
Yeah, I'm looking like all of them have gone up there. One has actually obviously got up there sooner, and is all the way over the north end of the field. Then there's 4 that are directly over us, which we're at the south end of the field. So we saw a couple of the shots as we've moved forward. And down here on the field, you can see that the sun is starting to light up the sky. It's not quite that light on the field yet. Our cameras just do a great job of picking that up.
Look at that sunrise.
Yeah. It's going to even get better with those clouds, et cetera, that are there. That's going to be, it's going to turn into a really nice, it's going to, in fact, there's already a little bit of orange, a little bit off the northern part of the mountain. I'm just looking out that way, we're starting to see some. So we're going to get a gorgeous sunrise this morning, and we're working our way towards that sunrise a little after 7 this morning.
What if we can get a shot of the status flag? What's going on here in the field right now?
It's going to probably still be yellow. I don't know. Pilot's briefing should be wrapping up, I'm seeing more truck action.
Yes.
And as we've talked about a number of times already, because it is competition time, usually as soon as pilot's briefing is over, the competitors have the wins, they have the pieces, they have all that stuff together, and now they've either got it in their head.
We have a green flag.
They did change it green. So they're looking for that spot. They're saying, okay, if the winds are going this direction, then I need to be launching from over here. And then, of course, you have to find a spot there, because the perfect place to launch, there might be a building.
Right.
So do you go to the left or the right of it? What kind of steerage might I get?
Or you may have 6 or 8 pilots fighting for the same spot.
6 or 8 would be an easy one to work out. It's when you get 10 to 15 to 20
right.
that are all looking for that. Hey, talk for a second while I talk with our Balloon Meister.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, when I was competing as a younger pilot, what you really want to do is you want to check out the guys who know what's going on. So I personally used to follow Ray and David Baer here in Albuquerque. They flew here all the time, and so myself and my old balloon partner, Michael Gorenflow, we were under heavy instructions that on competition days we were going to follow the Bears. And you know what? Every single time we did, we found our pathway right back to the field. So thanks, Ray and Dave. We really appreciate your guiding light the way to the field for us. So, but it's looking like it's going to be a fantastic morning here in Albuquerque at the 52nd annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. So let's go back here to the chat rooms and look around. I have to call this person out. Amy Collins is watching us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm just a neighbor right up the street in Gibsonia. So yins have a good day out there. We also have someone from Australia. So it's already tomorrow in Australia. Well, we're about 19 minutes away from tomorrow in Australia. Let's see here. Who else do we have? We have Allison from Scotland. So good morning, Allison in Scotland. Actually, it'd be afternoon for you at this point.
So a quick conversation with Henry Rosenbaum, our Balloon Meister. And he says we are all to go, as we pointed out a moment ago. The green flag is up. We are not doing the Sid Cutter today. We're going to do the Sid Cutter Memorial task tomorrow.
Okay.
We're going to do a Gordon Bennett task today and a multiple judge declared goal. Fancy words for we're going to put some X's on the field.
And throw some baggies at them.
And a couple of triangles on the field, and we're going to throw baggies or markers or beanbags at them as they come over.
So if there's any pilots crew out there that are watching us live, remind your pilot to put those baggies in the basket before they launch, because I'm one of those people in the club that left them in the glove box.
And there are lots of people, and yeah, there's probably no worse feeling than to be flying right over the X. Perfect line, perfect score. Where's the baggie? Where's the baggie?
And pilots
in the truck.
Gloves with your names written on it do not count.
They don't count. They don't count. But people will try it.
Yes, they will.
Gloves, hats, $100 bills,
shoes.
Yeah. No, don't do that. I'll be out there. Yeah. I wouldn't mind the $100 bill, but there's going to be so many people out there with other photographers and things like that. So no, throw the approved marker and baggie. In fact, if I reach down here,
I believe he probably has one.
I do have one. It's a matter of wasn't thinking to get it out.
I should have brought one that I was received from a person in Pennsylvania that was clearing out an old barn, and it was a really unique baggie that I've never seen. It was like a bean bag. Yeah. And it was fabric, but then they sewed on a piece of ripstop nylon that was about 8 feet long to the bottom of it, and they had written the name or stitched the name in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It had to have been from the 70s. It was really cool.
So this is an actual marker here. I have my name on it, so I'm going to slip it on the target when we get out there and see if they score it. But this is the tail, and you see it kind of just keeps going, and this is the weighted part of the baggie here. So when you throw this up, and you can wad it all up and throw it, but you can't throw it while it was rolled up like I just had it.
Right.
It has to unfurl so that we can see this coming down. They're going to measure from the closest part of the weighted part to the center of the X, and whatever X you've thrown that on.
Or tip of the diamond, or...
Well, yeah, they still measure to the X, but the perfect score is you have to be inside the diamond for that. And so they will measure that. There'll be certain colors that have to go on the target. So I don't know what those colors are yet. Henry's going to send us those, but you would send maybe your blue one would have to go on one of the X's, and you'd have to throw the red one on the Gordon Bennett, which would be the triangles.
Right.
Still measured to the center of things. We always measure from the center of an X, but sometimes the perfect score is not the center of the X. It's like Ted said, it's on the inside of that triangle, or tomorrow it will be on the bow of the boat. So a perfect score is not 0, but whatever the distance is from the center of that X to that point.
Right.
So that's what a marker looks like. We'll be seeing those come flying down at us or floating down.
And hopefully only in the scoring area.
Hopefully only in the scoring area. If you're out here on the field, you'll be able to get fairly close to that, and there will probably be some baggies that will come down your way as well. Just step out of the way and let it come down, and the scoring team will go over, or a safety official will go over and retrieve it. And the pilots have their names and their banner numbers on the tail of the marker. They'll measure them. All those scores go into not only winners for today within their competition group, because even that half that are out there are broken into a number of competition groups.
Right. And those cumulative scores will be released daily, correct?
The daily ones will be. The cumulative, we only let that go out on the final Saturday when it is our awards brunch time.
So how can we track these pilots, these competition pilots, and how they score each day?
So there's two places to do that, Ted. One is on the balloonfiesta.com webpage. You can go to the pilots and see the scores there. The other is there is an AIBF results Facebook page that you can go take a look there. It takes them till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon to actually get those scores posted. By the time they review, I remember they're scoring, they could score up to like 300 baggies and get them in the right groups, make sure there's no protests and other kinds of inquiries that may happen. Usually very few of those. You know that you got there or you didn't.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and yeah.
There are ride balloons getting ready to launch, our Rainbow Rider fleet. It looks like they're deliberately putting air in now, not just flapping the air in to get the top in. So we should see those guys getting hot here in a minute after our balloon of the day goes up and we have our national anthem. Our balloon of the day is the Xfinity balloon, if I'm not mistaken. They're sponsoring New Mexico Day.
Yeah, sunrise officially at 7:06.
Those dawn patrollers have come, and now they're coming back towards us as they come down a little bit. So
yeah, one coming right down the west side of the field.
Yep. And we got a couple more over our left shoulder that had gone south, and they have not made it back to the field quite yet, but I think they're just playing up there, and that's really what they do. In fact, I see a little shift up there now. It's kind of going from, and it's typical as the wind comes around the mountain. They're kind of going a little bit southwesterly. Not the ones behind us, but the ones in front of us. Which again, it's hard for you guys to see. We're out here commentating, and we know that you're looking at the balloon of the day on there. Yeah. But we're trying to tell you what's going on with the winds out here, and as hard as Art has said in the past, we just can't stick a camera straight up in the air.
Right. So it kind of gives us an idea. In
fact, right now you can see, I think it's Tim Taylor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's cruising down the valley.
Yep.
Literally.
And with a little which is interesting because while I see him on our camera, I don't see him out there.
There he is. He's right there. He's right to your left.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Farther down here than. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
There he is. If he knew we were talking about him, he would be waving and glowing.
Well, sure. There's the lights between us and there. Yeah. So he's basically right at the south end of the field. Those radio towers a little farther away.
And on cue, he's burning away.
Yep.
I would not be shocked if we don't see him go back up again and come over the field.
Yeah, that would be a very, you could definitely see that. Because the other thing you're thinking about here, while it's getting a little lighter and you can start to see the ground, the idea of flying dawn patrol is you have to fly till the sun comes up so that you can see what's on the ground.
Absolutely.
So he's got to fly for probably another 15, 20 minutes at least. And so rather than continuing to go way south, if he goes back high, he'll be able to make that next pass over there. The other one that was just going by that we saw following Tim over there is Polar Dawn, Rick Jones. He's kind of in that same spot that Tim was when we first started talking about Tim.
And he's in his 30th year here at Balloon Fiesta.
And then there's still two, probably directly over the river, but up about 1,500, maybe 2,000 feet.
I think one of them is Matt Grote, if I'm not mistaken, up there to the right.
Yep, looks like it to me.
On our screen. And then we have Chuck Schick right next to him up there.
And then three more managed to stay more directly north. They're out over the far north end of the field. That's going to be Chick-fil-A out there.
Greg Lindsay up there to the right, in the middle.
In the middle, yep.
So
as we continue to move forward with New Mexico Day.
You know, one of the things, I know there's a lot of pilots that watch on here, and they know the cadence and what you have to do. But for all of our other viewers out there, the reason they came back over the field so high is once you clear the field and you want to make a steady ascent out of here, you definitely want to be over the 75-foot marker as you come over the rooftop studio. There are some pylons out there, and you're going to make a nice steady ascent, no more than 200 feet a minute. But if you want to come back across the field and play up there, you must be 500 feet above the field to do so. That allows the traffic below you to do the same thing, so we don't have any issues. So that those other balloons earlier, they definitely did that. And again, they'll start coming back. I don't know who that is to the very far north because they weren't on our list, but he's definitely
changed balloons out on us.
Yeah, they did.
The team there.
They did. But he's coming down at a pretty good clip, and he's going to start. He should come down over the center of the field, but should be at 500 feet.
When he gets back over. Yep. And now the competition guys, when they're coming in, they're going to be able to come down to that 75-foot level as they come into the field. When they get over the scoring area, which will be flagged off, they can come right down to the ground, but not touch the ground.
Right, so they don't get penalized. But yeah, you can just, as Sid used to say, tickle the grass.
Tickle the grass.
Yes.
Yep. But if you hit the grass, expect a penalty.
Yes.
The Visit Albuquerque balloon, the green side. The side that's laying on the ground is red.
So it'll soon be Christmas again here on the field.
Yep. Paul Petrin flies the Visit Albuquerque balloon.
And
Rainbow Riders manages that, but Paul's flying it this week here at Balloon Fiesta.
And these passengers today are going to get a show because those ride pilots are going to take them up, and they're just going to hang out.
They're just going to go up there and watch
from
the top.
Yes. It's going to be a great day.
So we're going to call a lot of banner numbers throughout the morning here. That's going to be a way for us to be able to identify who's coming in. So there's basket 604 laying on the side. We already know that the 600 series are ride balloons. So those are the people that we're talking about. There's getting those big balloons inflated.
I guarantee you will not during competition call a banner number over 299.
Not on purpose. Because you know what will happen with this box. Some of these guys will go out, fly the box, and come back in. And so here's this non-competitor flying the box who is, coming over the field. So there could definitely be somebody in there.
Yeah. I meant straight competitors, though.
Yeah, and then you'll say, but that's not a competitor. I'll probably even catch it up. Oh, yeah, there's banner number 443. That's not a competitor. So
they're just coming back to tickle the grass and make a nice landing so they don't get any enchantment on their balloon.
All right, so on the Gordon Bennett, which is throw into a triangle, and you want to be the closest to the X but inside the triangle, that's going to be an orange marker. Okay? And let's see, the 40. So there will be 3 triangles around the X. And so the one as you come in from the north and the one on either side, east or west, the center, the point of that triangle is going to be 40 feet from the center of the X. So a perfect score from that would be 40. However, the triangle on the south side, the point is going to be 20 feet from there. So you could take the safe one as you're coming in and throw left or right. But if you'll hold on and try and get the triangle right past the X, the best score there is going to be 20 feet. And that's the Gordon Bennett Memorial. Then on the multiple judge declared goal, there will be, let's see what they're talking about, 3 X's out there. One on either side of the main road, one just off the main road, and you can throw either a red, any color other than red or orange. Any color other than red, because the orange one.
So you're going to take your marker down there to that area.
I'm going to take the blue one. It's not going to be a Gordon Bennett. Yep. If I put this on the Gordon Bennett, it's not going to get scored. It's
Right.
going to get measured to one of those other X's. So, yeah, so I need to go to one of the multiple declared goals and throw mine on there. All 3 X's are valid, closest to the center of the X. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, Gordon Bennett. Yep, we're good. So that's the competition for this morning, and we'll be down there to call all that for you.
Yeah, and as we look out there now, you can see it's getting a little lighter as the sun continues to rise over the Sandias. That one balloon that kind of snuck in on us on dawn patrol up there to the north, he's actually got it. He's kind of coming southeasterly now, so he looks like he can totally miss the field.
Yep. So we're about 5 minutes away from our national anthem and the balloon of the day, with Xfinity taking the colors airborne. Jacob Little is flying Xfinity for us this week. And it's not going to be long after the balloon of the day Xfinity gets in the air that all of our other non-competitor balloons are going to be ready. We've got already some ride balloons standing up. We've got a number of the balloons right here on the south end of the field. ExxonMobil, Intel, Barney Watson and Cool Beans is over there. So a number of them are already, I mean, they're basically ready to go hot as soon as Jacob gets Xfinity in the air.
Yeah, these pilots on the south end are being good citizens because they know how important it is to get up and get out of here. That's is that Nick, our pilot that flew the other day for us over there inflating as well? Right over the top of to the left?
Yes, yeah. So we have our balloon cam in a competitive balloon today.
That'll be fun.
So it is time for us to go down to the Main Street stage and our public address announcer, Mr. Bill Royal.
It's time for this morning's opening ceremonies and what will happen after the anthem. Get your cameras ready because Chili Flight will come across with their signature red and green lights and smoke coming in from the north just after the anthem, and then again from east to west as they circle back around. And also make sure you and your camera are ready for the all burn that happens right at the end as well. Plus, don't forget that we have competition at 8 a.m. after today's ascension. So that is something that you definitely don't want to miss if you haven't seen it before. So everybody get ready. This is going to be something that's, as usual, when you tell somebody you had to be there, well, you're here on Monday morning, New Mexico Day, at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. I'm Bill Royal. I'll be your voice throughout the day, and we will be doing our best to keep you informed on what's going on the field. But right now, to honor our country, here is your national anthem with Mr. Bobby Garcia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
Our national anthem and the Chile Flight Express on pass number 1.
Yes, they're going to go to the south and turn around and then come from the east and pass us back over and go to the west.
Exactly. And
I think we're ready to place the balloon.
I think so. They're going to get that last part of the Chile flight across. And then we'll get the rest of the folks coming, we get those guys up. So Jacob Little and Xfinity, I noticed, actually had a little bit of southeast.
Yes.
We were seeing southwest with Dawn Patrol, and of course going up high and going back to the northeast. So for pilots that are out there listening, Xfinity going off the field, going a little bit southeast at probably about 500-600 feet or so.
And as we mentioned, though, that's going to change about 100 times between now and when the competitors get out there off the field.
Yeah.
Which is that's what makes it fun, exciting, exhilarating, and challenging.
You know, we have a low-power TV station that we put our signal on.
Yes.
For about 4 miles around the park, you can pick it up. Oh, the yellow.
That's a great shot right there.
Yeah.
That's the balloon snuck in on us on Dawn Patrol.
The Dawn Patrol, yeah. I changed it out or something. Anyway, this low-power TV station, it's usually up for about a week or so before we go. And what we usually do is we play the previous year's shows on there. So one of the shows was playing on there, and it happened to be a competition day. And I remember talking about and hearing this again the other day, that one of the competitors sent their crew down to the target area right off the side, and they kept sending up little pie balls so that they could report back to their pilot how that winds were changing right here on the field so they could continue to navigate that way.
So if they won, that means we get a piece of the pie.
Well, yeah, but they didn't. I wasn't even sure which competitor it was. I love this shot.
Oh, yeah.
With the New Mexico State balloon, 90,000 cubic feet. That's the normal size balloon. That's not a small balloon.
No.
But when you put it with the big balloons, it looks like
it looks like a small balloon.
Yeah. And here comes Chile Flight back over, smoke on, coming from over the east. And we've got them coming in. And there's the starburst. It's right behind the roof, so we have to watch the camera like everybody else.
Here they come.
Yeah, I can hear the motors now.
There they come right over top of the roof.
Usually we see Chile Flight just on Saturdays, but they're here for New Mexico Day. And we thank the Chile Flight Express folks, those pilots with their home-built aircraft, putting on an extra show for you here at the Balloon Fiesta, the 52nd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. New Mexico Day, Monday, competition day, mass ascension, if you will, coming out of the field. We've got it all for you this morning.
We do. It's going to shape up to be a great morning.
I
have the feeling right now.
Yeah.
The minute that sun crests that mountain, it's gonna just change things up.
Yeah.
And again, as you said, the colors are going to start to pop. Our cameras do a great job. What you're seeing right there is phenomenal. With my own eyes, it's not as good as what I see with that camera.
Exactly. And we're starting to get some of the ride balloons up. There goes the one flying the KOB-4 banner, with a lot of folks getting their bucket list off. Right below it, the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center balloon. These guys are basically in the middle of the field. We kind of set things off. We start in the middle and we start at the south end on typical days of the breeze. And we kind of work through kind of two groups of balloons going off at the same time. Again, as you said, competition starting at 8. We want to get these balloons up and out of here so that we can clear the field, get the flagging and the scoring area set up, and get our competition underway as close to 8 o'clock as possible.
I anticipate seeing these ride balloons come back over us at a much higher altitude here shortly.
I think you're right. You get a sense for how big the baskets are. There's the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center balloon.
Great shot by our awesome team here.
Alfred Salazar flying the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center balloon. And did you say Brad Rice is flying the one with the Zia?
Yes.
On it?
I believe so.
He is indeed.
And he's doing what Brad does. Nice, slow and easy over the top, making his way down here. And there's the Lobo balloon right in between all of those large balloons, like you said.
Yeah.
Same size as the Aggie balloon.
And, really, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Scott Appleman obviously went to the universities and said, don't you think you ought to have a balloon and a balloon program? And, you guys put the balloon together. We'll manage it. We'll fly it for you. They'll take it and set it up at the games, And so I wonder if they'll set both of them up when the Aggies play the Lobos.
Well, they played a couple weekends ago, and I'm not sure if they. I'm not sure. They was down in Cruces. Probably not, because they were probably flying rides up here.
Probably.
Yeah.
Could
There's
be.
Brad Rice right there.
Yep. So you can see, while the colors are very similar on all the Rainbow Ride balloons, they actually are all different. And this is one great. You see the coyote down along the bottom in among those little other designs. So that's on a couple of other balloons as well.
I would assimilate that as a digital tumbleweed, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. They're actually going right over our
right over the top
of the rooftop studio. The white balloon that we saw kind of in the picture with them was originally made for a different sponsor, but they did it as kind of a banner so that they can continue to rotate the banner. So if you wanted to advertise on the balloon, there's a great white balloon, and we'll put a banner on it for you and carry it for you.
And again, that shows the major size. You could
There's
stick that white balloon inside of what Brad's flying.
Yeah. Hey, somebody asked on the chat the other day about if we remembered the big one. And that was like a 400,000 cubic foot balloon.
Yes.
And that's the one that we actually did fly a small balloon inside of many, many years ago. So, yes, we do remember the big one if you're still with us today.
There's Mr. Earl Buzzard flying Buzzard Roost 2. He's a local pilot from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The picture's taken they're taken there. We mentioned the Visit Albuquerque balloon. There you see Visit Albuquerque, the University of New Mexico Lobo balloon. As Paul turns that Visit Albuquerque balloon around, you'll see as the red is coming around from the right-hand side as he spins that balloon. There's the red side. We'll just flip cameras. We don't even have to wait for him to swip around. That's the advantage of watching on Balloon Fiesta Live. We'll just change the camera angle to give you what you want to see, or what we'd like for you to see.
There's a great shot of all of our guests out this morning, getting a nice mini Maes ascension, as we refer to it. Once this field clears, it's going to be open for competition, and Art will get down in the middle of things for the Gordon Bennett, right?
Yep. So the black one with the yellow and orange, that's just kind of floating along the top of those balloons we
Right
just
there.
saw. Yep. No, they switched on it. Sunset Glow, Tom Steinbeck. Yeah, I guess that is him.
That is him.
Yeah, that's in there. And we can see the white streamer on his basket. Yesterday being our memorial flight, but those banners and those streamers tend to stay all week. So while we make a point of remembering people on the first Sunday, it stays with us all week long. Tristan McLean taking the Exxon Mobil balloon off the far south end of the field, using that turning vent so that no matter where you are on the field, you can see Exxon Mobil. Exxon Mobil, the presenting sponsor of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, but starting next year, they will be the title sponsor. So next year, we'll be talking about the Exxon Mobil Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And as he comes around, that should be the turning vent right there, just as it was going out of the screen. So we're doing a great job of clearing the field here. We're moving quickly through this launch, which is going to make it really nice for our competition.
We just have the Intel balloon launching off in front of us. Get a shot of that. There's New Mexico
And there's
State
New Mexico State. I was just going to point out New Mexico State was the one that was kind of in the air a little farther away, and then we just kind of move right in on it. More ride balloons launching out of the middle of the field, and we're ready to start row 2 down here on the south end. Balloons cannot, and pilots cannot launch off the field without a launch director. So they are dressed as referees or zebras, if you will. And if you hear the whistles, that's them making sure that everybody's paying attention. They're looking up because when you're in the basket of the balloon, you look up, you just see a whole lot of color above you. And so they move away from the balloon. They can look up, make sure that, especially in this case, that like those ride balloons that are coming over, that they have either gotten some altitude or are not directly over, and we can launch folks out.
Safely.
Safely, yes. So that shot's looking from the north end, so you're looking at the next set of ride balloons, but we're starting to see some of the non-competitors start to inflate. We do something called a 3-row rule here, and that is that you look downwind 3 rows of balloons, and you should be basically ready to do what they are doing. So if 3 rows ahead of you they're launching, you should be getting ready to launch. If they're just starting to lay out, you should be getting ready to lay out. If they're going cold by blowing air into the envelope, that's what you should be ready to do. So you always watch down so that you're ready when we get to you and not prematurely inflated and burning a lot of fuel, or not late and holding up the launch. And all of our launch directors are volunteers as well, many of them pilots and crew from not only here in Albuquerque but from around the country that actually give up the opportunity to fly in order to provide the launch director service.
We're starting to get those pink clouds as the sun starts to crest the mountains, and a little bit of a gusty breeze. That's pretty typical right before the sun rises here.
Along with the temperature drop.
Yep. We're down to 52 now.
And we talked about that quick layer. Brad Tiemeyer told the pilots this morning that there was a quick layer up there and that it would come down to the ground. And it's definitely lower than it was.
Yes.
Yeah, so exactly what is happening. But once it gets all the way down to the ground, it will eventually mix away, and then those slower winds will replace that.
Well, that last shot that we just had where it was looking from the north to the south, some of those ride balloons were starting to stall and make their way back north. So
yeah.
Slow, and it was not very fast. I thought I saw like 2s, 3s, 4s. He said it would get faster the higher you went.
But I think it's down here at this level now.
Yeah.
But I'm not up there, and I'm not the meteorologist. Yeah. There goes Cottywomple off the right-hand side of the screen, kind of the reddish one with the white design, flower design on the side. We've mentioned that one a few times. Mike Heffron. He has a wheelchair-accessible basket that he flies for Rainbow Riders. The 2 Colorado balloons providing rides. All under the contract of Rainbow Riders, which, of course, Scott Appleman founded many years ago. Started with 1 balloon in his garage, and now he has operations in 4 states. All 4 corners, actually.
I was thinking about it today when I was out here, quite the operation on Friday when they were launching passengers. Just the amount of trucks and vans and equipment that they put into that business is unbelievable.
And then to run it in 4 states.
Yes.
Yeah. But, yeah, there's a great shot of Cottywomple, the heart with the ribbons coming out of it.
Tentacles with hearts, looks like.
There you start to get a feel for what the sky looks like as we continue to launch balloons and we have them in the sky. And again, this is just going to be about half of our balloons this morning because the other half have gone somewhere else. And they'll be having working their way to fly back into this field once it's clear of these balloons.
And they're doing a great job of making that happen.
Yeah, they are.
And see another little subtle change. You know, that's the beauty of Albuquerque. Now we're seeing them take off and go to the west.
Go more southwest.
Yeah.
Well, so down here
on the left-hand side of the field.
Down here at 100 feet, they're going west, but at 200 feet, they're going southeast. You know the other phenomenon which I tend to see when we're doing competition. There's a road that goes right through the middle of the field. And if you're coming down the east side of that road, you tend to move to the east. If you're on the west side of that road, you go to the west. It's like there's a wall going down that road and you can't get across the road. You kind of come up to the road and you kind of bounce off of it.
Right.
It's kind of amazing. Often wonder if it's not because there's some extra heat coming off because it's pavement versus the grass.
Very well could be. Well, you know, another phenomenon that happens out of here is you have these high tension lines that run north to south, and it's quite often that you'll get up there and you'll ride those lines all the way down. Something you don't want to do, and it's like you can't get off of the things.
Yeah, it's like a magnet.
Yes.
Okay, so coming right at us here. A little more heat.
Yes, please.
Get to that 75-foot level, please.
Let's please.
There we go. A little more heat.
You can probably hear the burners right there.
Yeah, right through our microphones. waving to the camera. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. Marilyn Wallace.
Yes. From Santa Monica.
The balloon Rainbow Through Heaven.
It was almost rainbow through the rooftop deck.
Almost. We've seen shots of them. We've seen them in the shots in the past. We have these 75-foot tall pylons. There's one in each corner of the field. They're basically red and white at the top. Sponsored by the Isleta folks, the folks at the Isleta Resort and Casino. That's an indicator of that 75-foot level that pilots are supposed to be at by the time they actually leave the grass of the field. And you know, you may remember in the early days, we used to put little helium balloons on strings that were 75 ropes, 75 foot tall. The problem was when the wind blew, it just kind of blew it down.
Yeah, or it was just a regular sized balloon. You really couldn't see it amongst everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
The pylons definitely are there. Yeah,
there it is right there. That's one of the ones out on the, let's see.
That'd be the northeast, no? Yeah,
northeast corner, yeah. Yeah. So that's 75 foot tall. There's one of those in each corner. And the balloons need to be at least that high when they get to the edge of the field. Ted has talked multiple times about that 200 foot per minute ascent rate, meaning that you're going to be gaining altitude at the rate of 200 feet every minute.
Well, I just stood up and turned around to the south, and a lot of those ride balloons now are probably anywhere from 7 to 1,000 feet.
Oh, yeah.
And they're coming back right over the field.
And they're in the sunlight. Sunlight hasn't hit the field yet, but they are in the sunlight.
Right. And in fact, the Xfinity balloon is up over the field on the west side, probably more over Edith.
Oh, yeah.
Headed towards the river. So the people out in Corrales and Rio Rancho, you will have some visitors a little later on, I think, if they stay there. What a gorgeous shot.
So definitely a box setting up.
Right in the center there, below the Colorado balloon, is Mr. Eric Hodges, who just yesterday actually received the Ed Yost Award.
What a great deal for him.
Oh my goodness. I asked his wife Brenda, when I went over to see him, was he crying? Was he crying when he got the award? She says no, he was crying when they went in before they got the award.
Oh, I'll bet. 40 years of safe piloting is what gets you the Ed Yost Award.
He must have started when he was 12. No, actually, he did start when he was 16 or 14, something like that.
Yeah, for a long time he was the youngest or one of the youngest pilots here, and I remember him flying when he was still a teenager. So it's hard to believe he's been flying 40 years to get that award. When I heard he was going to get it, I thought, no, it hasn't been 40 years.
And Kim Vesely told me this morning, she says, yeah, I remember Eric was a little kid.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He still acts like a little kid, so that's great.
Which is great fun.
Yes. Way to go, buddy.
Yeah. Congratulations.
That system, that may be Mark from North Carolina. I think we talked to him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The Firefly system's really cool. I flew Fireflies for many years, and that burner is a Mirage burner. That's not the most quiet thing out there. In fact, that's usually why I'm half deaf in my left ear now. But during a glow, it's really cool. If you stick a leather glove up underneath the vent, you get a massive glow that goes on, and it's something else. That was not Mark.
Tim Evans, the crew balloon.
From Cedar Crest, New Mexico.
Which is just over on the other side of the mountain.
Right around the corner.
Matt McClinton takes the U.S. Bank balloon out of here. You don't see that, but there's baby T-Rex. Autocorrect, don't do that to me.
And many of those ride balloons are really starting to come back over the field again here.
Rex Jennings has the baby T-Rex we saw inflating. That was the white one with the kind of green little baby T-Rex breaking out. Look at that shot of all the balloons in the sky.
That's looking south, and this is the orange balloon to the bottom right area. That was one of our, that was our rogue.
Our rogue Dawn Patrol balloon.
Yeah, the switch out. So he made it back in. If you remember when the Chili Peppers flew over,
Chili Express.
Chili Express, I'm sorry. When they flew over, he was going really quick to the east, down low. There's Arabelle.
Oh boy, Arabelle. And Freddie back there behind, kind of over the top. So I don't think, or is it? It's Frankie.
Frankie.
It's Frankie. Freddie's the fox.
The fox.
Yeah.
Right before that, we saw Teddy Twins.
Frank Boy. Not even
Frank
Frankie.
Boy.
Frank Boy. Yeah.
There he is.
There he is. From Brazil. And we talked about those N numbers or those registration numbers. So right under his ear there, PP. PP, like N is the United States, PP is Brazil.
I wonder how they came up with that.
I have no idea. And then look at the rest. It's a customized one.
Frank.
Yeah, FRK for Frank.
Well, we should.
Meow Wolf. And the Fidelity Investments. 2 more balloons operated by the Rainbow Riders Corporation. Because in addition to doing rides and taking people on rides to mark off their bucket list, they do operate corporate balloons. In fact, so there's 2 ride balloons, but yet Pinnacle Propane, the one in the upper left with the big white around it and the red at the top and the bottom. So that's a corporate balloon, also being operated by Rainbow Riders. Kind of a twofer.
Yep.
We get your corporate vision up there, and look, the turning vent, even turning it around to make sure that we can see it.
There's silver lining going up to the right there. That's either, we'll see in a second here. I think that's Fred McAllister flying today.
Yeah, don't you love it when there's 2, 3 pilots on a balloon? You never know who's flying.
Well, I can tell you, I'm looking out there and I can tell it's Fred because the basket's kind of going to the left.
Oh, okay. Preventive Pest Control, itsy bitsy spider, but those black widows ain't so itsy bitsy.
No,
Brian
they're not.
Victor, the owner of Preventive Pest Control, flying his own balloon now.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. And as we mentioned, you can't see it on the screen, but those ride balloons now are in full sunlight for the most part, north of the field.
Yeah.
That is Fred yelling down at us.
Is that Fred yelling? Oh, yeah, he's waving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the cowboy hat. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, like we said, they're kind of, at that point, they're in a position we can't really catch them with a camera because you can't point the camera straight up.
Right.
We can point our cell phone straight up at them.
It's a great shot, showing all the balloons. Getting some altitude and coming back towards us. Again, we call this the mini Maes Ascension, but in any other part of the world, this would be their own festival, correct?
Yeah, yeah. A major Maes Ascension. It would be. Well, even Gallup, New Mexico has about 130 balloons when they're one in the early part of December. Labor Day liftoff in Colorado Springs usually has about 80. Plano does about 40 balloons.
But all those added up do not equal what we're seeing now.
What we're seeing
right.
on this half.
This half,
on
yeah.
this half.
Not even what we're seeing later on.
Yeah, all together.
On the screen towards the middle right is Seed Quill. Looks like a watermelon. That's being flown by Bob O'Brien from Wisconsin.
See Hamlet down in the lower right. Doug Gant, the black one in front of that. Psionic, that's Mike Voorhees.
Well, here, I just got something from Keith Berry off of the Facebook feed, and thank you, Keith, because I learn something every day. Brazil has PP, PT, PR, PU, PS for registrations. Each designates the type of aircraft: private, commercial, experimental, etc.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
Keith's been doing a lot of posting on there. We haven't acknowledged it. I saw Keith in Plano, and so it was really great to see him. And we always appreciate not only Keith's comments, but other people's comments as well.
Everybody's.
We may not acknowledge them on the air, but we do read through them. Sometimes it's after the show before I can catch up on them. In fact, when we get to Thursday and Friday, we're going to acknowledge Brock, who corrected me on something I said about special shape balloons the other day. So when we get that back around, appreciate the updates. Ted and I are only so smart, but the tens of thousands of you watching, boy, you've got it, and you let us know, and we appreciate that.
I've always said feedback is a gift.
There you go.
And I like gifts.
And JPEGs too, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I like pictures. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bad one there. There's baby T-Rex standing up, cracking out through that egg. I love that one.
Yeah. It'd be fun to fly.
I think it would be. I think it would be.
You know, a lot of
and
people.
Arabelle standing up too.
A lot of people ask me, you know, how was I gonna enjoy doing this gig?
Yeah, yeah.
And because I'm always down on the field, whether I was a safety person or I was a pilot, and I told them quite honestly, I wasn't sure, but I really enjoy this.
Okay.
I mean, it's allows us to talk about a passion that I've had since I was a child, and to see all of my friends at a different perspective, and to see I'm making more friends now online, obviously. So we really appreciate it. All the people that make comments, as Art said, we may not have the opportunity to say your name or even where you're from, but we truly appreciate it. We love the fact that you're watching us. Right now on Facebook Live, we have 407 viewers right now. So,
yeah, and I have 1,500 watching on YouTube here. So, talking about the sizes of balloons and getting the information. So 25 balloons at the Big Sky Balloon Rally in Billings, Montana, 30 balloons in Sussex, New Brunswick, 100 plus at Bristol, 140 at Longleat, 150 at Midland Air Festival. So, yeah, so the numbers we're throwing out, I mean, people are confirming that for us around the country.
So we just got word from Peg Bilson, the assistant balloon meister, that competition will start at 8:15 and it will close at 9:30. So they're right on track. There's Eric Hodges playing it safe.
Right in the center, right in the center.
Right in the center.
Yep. With Bill Lee standing up the New Mexico True Balloon. They call it Truly. And the Rax balloon.
Just had Peter George from the UK fly over the top of us.
Yeah,
there's T-Rex.
There's
yeah.
baby T-Rex,
baby
right?
T.
Yeah. Eric's going to eclipse him. Yeah.
There he is.
And
Nice.
turn it around, giving a smile at all those 6 teeth towards us.
The details. The details.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't see all those details until you get really up close and personal with that balloon.
And you know, the camera angles are really interesting because it looked like he was really close to baby T-Rex. But if you look, baby T-Rex is behind us and Eric is still over the middle of the field.
I know, yeah. And there's the fractal balloon of Jonathan Wolf. Jonathan used to do tie-dye balloons, and then he worked with Kubitschek to be able to print those. And so that's a printed fabric. I asked him one time, so what happens if you damage one of those panels? Because on a normal balloon, you would put a patch in there, or you just kind of replace with the color, and it would be noticeable, et cetera, to kind of do that kind of stuff. But with him, they have to go get panel number, whatever it is, because it's printed. They would have to replace that exact panel, or it'd be very obvious.
Or rub some dirt on it.
Well, but if you have a hole, if you have a hole in it, you're replacing that. And what that means then is you're going to replace a panel. You can't put a 4x4 inch square patch over that hole. You're going to replace that whole panel.
That there was Little Dog, not so little, flying over the top of us right now that you guys just saw. That's Vladimir.
He's kind of in the middle of this. Yeah, he was in the middle of the screen. Now he's almost full screen.
Yeah, from Brazil.
Right over the top of us.
Yep. And definitely not so little.
And Eric's now made it to the south end of the field off our other view. There's Doug Gant with When Pigs Fly. Have to send that one to Eric. Little selfie with Eric in the background.
Yeah.
Great shot. Yeah, that's one of the other fun things here, be able to grab those different shots when people are coming by.
I did that yesterday with the Zober when he flew over, when Mark flew over.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. We can talk about that later on in the week, how he talked about how the balloon reacted as he was flying and launching.
Because it was its first flight.
Maiden flight, yes.
Yeah, well, they had stood it up a few times. They had actually not flown it, and you saw it here on Balloon Fiesta Live. The Rax Building Supply balloon, Frankie Martinez from Los Lunas, a little suburb, little village just south of Albuquerque. Look at all the balloons coming back over the top on the north. They're going to have a great shot of our competition getting underway in less than 45 minutes here. So we still have quite a number of balloons to get launched, and then we're going to have to clear the
that shot right there. You have that
space.
That black balloon with the colors dripping from the top of it. That's Matt Robeson from Fort Worth, Texas. I think you just saw him in Plano.
I did. I did.
He was telling me he was 27 years old when he started crewing, and he got his license at 36, so it's never too late. And his first balloon, and the balloon that they're flying this year, is named Straight Up. We wanted something maybe a bit clever, but he is very interested in bourbon and whiskey. So there you go. Cheers this morning, Matt.
Yep, exactly.
On the ground only. Yeah, Art, it's shaping up to be a good day.
Yep.
I think you're going to have fun out there in the middle of the field.
The sun is now starting to hit the field. Colors are popping on the balloons down here on the ground. Still a quick layer there, but it's all right. There's the Ibex. Isn't that what the...
Yep, that's exactly what it is. From Germany.
Yep. Nils Romling.
Bavaria. It's first Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah.
So I hate to say this, you have an old goat like Eric Hodges flying, and then you have the Ibex. Sorry, Eric.
Let's see. Timestamp that, Mark.
Yes.
So that we can send the timestamp to Eric. Basil Booth. Which looks similarly to Vampirilla.
There's Arabelle.
The head, always the last part to come up. You look up inside Arabelle, I've said this multiple times, it kind of looks like a regular shaped balloon on the inside, and so the legs, and especially the legs, they're kind of the last to kind of fill up.
It's got to get the heat down there to be able to.
Yeah, and the heat doesn't go down.
No.
It goes up. But yeah, it's got to get to the head, and then it's got to lift all of that fabric of the face.
There's one of the Wags balloons.
I haven't quite got it in my brain which one is Wags and which one is Barks. That's Barks because I'm looking at Wags on my screen.
Right.
Yeah. Barks is a little bit lighter in color.
Barks is to the far right with the bone on the right there on the crown.
Oh, and to the left of them, still inflating, there's the Coyote. We talked with Craig Clausen earlier this morning about the Roadrunner Coyote balloon. So that's Barbara and Peter Fricke. I think Peter's scheduled. Back to one of those, who's flying today?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's Peter Cuneo flying today. Barbara built that balloon for the 50th Balloon Fiesta 2 years ago. Worked with Craig Clausen and the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity to get the rights to do that and to be able to put those on there. And that artwork is actually inlaid into that balloon. Sometimes you put the artwork over the top of the fabric, and sometimes you actually build it into the fabric. So that is actually built into the fabric. And Peter's got some heat in there, and you see the red, the top almost fell out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Nearly floated it.
Kind of floated a little bit. And because this is kind of a rebuild or a replica, they put the large 12-inch, or actually it's probably more like 18-inch size end numbers on the side, and that is actually the original end number.
Yes, and they did a fantastic job because I actually remember chasing that balloon down with my father here in the city.
Yeah?
Back in the day.
So the only thing that they've got the pennants on there, they did not put turning vents in because the original didn't have that. The only thing that's really missing off that balloon is the balloon. The original balloon had Roadrunner Coyote, no, it was the other way. Coyote Roadrunner Balloon Festival on it, or
right.
Balloon Fiesta on it, in words around the bottom. That's the only thing they didn't do. What they do have is little panels about the Center for Creativity, Chuck Jones Center. So, and I've had an opportunity to fly that balloon. It's great
I'm
fun.
jealous.
Yeah. Well, you've flown a lot of balloons. I wish I had flown too. So, look at the sky, looking straight up. We can't. Yeah. So, those of you at home get to see Lottie Dottie Chicken, while we're looking at all the little balloon dots just all hanging over the top of us.
Definitely making their way back.
Oh, here's somebody photobombing Lottie Dottie. Okay, we won't show them. Then you can see how big Arabelle is.
Yeah. I see Smokey inflating over there. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably from the angle of the camera view we're looking at, so it's just to the left of where Arabelle is.
Yeah, it would probably be off the.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it. Our crack camera crew probably get a picture of it. All right.
Well,
another 25 or 30 balloons maybe to get off the field. There's Princess Nellie out there and the big hug. Some of our other regular shaped balloons. Frank Boy still in the mix there.
I see a Brazilian balloon right there, PH. If I'm not mistaken.
The green and yellow one?
Yeah.
One of the Rainbow Riders guys got all the way over here to UNM, the University of New Mexico, which is south of us.
Right.
So that's a few miles down there. So one of the Rainbow Riders balloons decided not to fly the box, but decided to continue on south.
Give the riders a tour of the city.
There you go.
And sometimes that's not bad.
Nope. Well, that's the cool thing about flying balloons. Because winds will take you different directions at different altitudes, you get to kind of pick where you want to go, especially on a day like today when there's different directions at different altitudes. I think I want to go here. Oh, even if you change your mind, change your altitude,
You'll
and
go
off
somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arabelle's trying. She's taking a nap.
And we talked about Wags and Barks. Barks is now airborne out there
And
as the big hug takes off on the screen. There's a great shot of Barks. The second golden retriever balloon by the Carlton family. Last year or the year before, I can't remember how many years Wags has been here, but then they decided to bring yet a second one.
Probably with about a 10 or 12 foot tongue on there.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they actually made it protrude out to a shape and it'd be flopping in the wind.
Well, the noses do.
Yes.
On those balloons, so yeah. There's Big Hug. If bears and elephants can hug, why can't the rest of the world?
That's a great question. I think they should.
I think so too. I think so too.
Well, you know, we're out here at the Balloon Fiesta where everybody is smiling and having a good time, so we all do get together out here.
And hugs are a big part of balloon.
They are.
They are.
So if you're not a hugger, become one when you come out here.
You'll be one before you leave. You will definitely
For
be one
sure.
before you leave. Yeah, that's it. Hey, do you remember when the Arabelle the cow first came on the scene many, many years ago? We used to fly it with a crescent moon below the basket.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course called it the cow jumping over the moon.
Yeah, I think the first year you had all those people in like cow pattern T-shirts. It looked like I had a herd of people out there with that thing.
Yeah. So there's our scuba diver and our
Olaf the clown, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, I was looking at that yesterday, and it's like there's a name on Olaf now. I always call him Olaf because that's his end number, the D for Germany.
Right. And right over the top of them in the 76 balloon is Jason Gabriel from Colorado Springs, Colorado, planning his 7th Balloon Fiesta. And Peter is getting ready to launch. I think he just took off.
Yeah, now they're calling Olaf just Clown. Yeah. Everybody on the set is now noticed that Peter took off. That's Journey with Michael Gonzalez out of Rio Rancho, the one that the space theme that we see on our screen.
I wonder if he's added the new moon just for the Fiesta.
I don't know. I don't know. So down in the lower left, okay, there's Peter. If you see Frank Boy, you look right below him. Oh, and they're right in the center of the screen. There it is, the red pennants with the white balloon. Peter Cuneo. His wife Barbara built the balloon. Really great friends of ours. In fact, I actually crew for them throughout the year. They allow me to fly their balloons. And they just had a pretty decent showing in the Gordon Bennett.
Yes, they did.
Last month. There's Frank Boy.
Frank Boy's been inflated a while.
He has. But you know, a lot of times, and you'll remember this, the Brazilians build these balloons, they bring them to Fiesta, and then sell them to somebody here.
Right.
So they kind of like build them on spec.
There's Freddie the Fox right behind him.
Right behind him, yeah.
Jeff Lawton from the UK. I kind of like the Fox.
I do too.
Well, I like all special shapes. They're all interesting and fun.
So people were writing on our feed the other day. We were talking about the scuba diver there. That apparently that was some connection with a film. I'm not sure I recognize the film that was part of, but our audience knows more about it. So they'll tell us about it, and we'll all learn from it.
Someone just asked what our favorite balloon for 2024 is, and my answer is going to be, how many do we have registered?
550 some pilots, but more like 680 balloons.
All 680 I like.
There you go. And my standard answer is the one I'm looking at. So right now, I'm looking at the scuba diver balloon, and that's my favorite one, or the snorkeler, I should say, not truly.
Snorkel?
Snorkel, yeah. And there he goes. Surfacing, or unsurfacing, as the case may be, as you launch into the sky.
It's great the detail to put into it like that. You actually see what he's seeing.
Yeah. And this is another one of those balloons that looks totally different from different sides. So looking at it this way, you get the snorkel, you get the mask, you get all the details in the mask. But if you were to look at that balloon from the backside, it pretty much just looks like a regular racer with the Siebel logo on the back of it. It's kind of like the Roadrunner Coyote balloon. Peter just went flying over us. Today, we're seeing the Coyote side. But every time we've seen it so far this year, other than today, we've always seen the Roadrunner side. So there's the back of the snorkel balloon. So the Seabolt balloon. Yes, you can tell there's a little bit of a shape, but you have no idea that that is a snorkeling mask from the back side. Sumo from Mexico going right over the top of us, waving the flag at us. You didn't get to see that because they were directly overhead. There's the other cute. And, you know, we talked about the fox, and there's actually kind of like two foxes.
Yeah, this one is Hunter the Fox.
Hunter the Fox.
Fabio Lopes from Brazil. Third year at Fiesta.
And that's the, looks like the moonscape right next to them. And then Yoda, huh?
Master Yoda. Benoit.
And I saw some feet leave the screen. I'm guessing that was Tall Steve.
There he
yep,
is.
there he is.
That is him. Living in Pittsburgh now, I kind of have a little bit of affinity to that balloon. But as you said, your most favorite balloon is what's on screen.
Yeah,
so, now
so
like
my favorite balloon was Tall Steve, and now it's Arabelle.
Yes.
But obviously, Arabelle's not going to fly today.
No. She's decided to
take a nap.
Pack it in for the day. So they're going to be launching about another, what do you say, 20, 30 balloons out of here, cleaning up Arabelle, although she's off of the competition area. The competition area will be to the western part of the field.
And I'm kind of thinking that those that are now standing up along the east edge might be doing a static display for us, similar to what we do on special shape days.
Perhaps, yes. And it looks like the roping off of the field is going into full effect now.
Into effect here.
It looks like the crowd that's out here has done a nice job of clearing. They've put some temporary stands out on the west side, which I think will help a lot of the fans that are out here take a look at the competition. So.
Okay.
And we were just told from Peg Bilson that the field is open for landing outside of the competition area. So those pilots that came and launched before that were non-competitors are able to come back and land at the field if they would like to.
Which is why you'll see them look like they're coming into the targets.
Right.
Ted, I think what we're going to do here now is looks like we have we got a few more to launch. And we're going to be opening the scoring area here in just about 15 or 20 minutes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you handle things from here. I'm going to switch gears and go from up here on the rooftop studio to down in the middle of the scoring area. So I'll
have fun down there.
Yeah. And I'll be calling colors and banner numbers, and you can help spot them and identify them from here. Feel free to fill with all of your vast knowledge, and I'll talk to you from the field.
All right, sir. Safe ride out there. All right, well, Art heads down to the middle of the competing field. Go over a couple things just so you guys know as far as competition goes. Team USA for hot air ballooning had some top honors at last month's 25th World Championships in Hungary. The team pilots who were at Fiesta are Joe Hartzell, Lucas Hartzell, Rhett Hartzell, Cameron Wall, Johnny Petrin, and Bruce Wood. If you guys would like to see more about Team USA, you guys can go and log on to www.ballooning.org, and they have all the information about our team from the United States of America. Joe Hartzell finished third at Worlds this year. And it's his 5th podium finish at World Championships. The others were in 1993, 95, 97, and 2006. Joe is also inducted into the National Ballooning Hall of Fame this past year, and he's won a World Championship and 5 BFA National Championship, and he's currently ranked 4th in the FAI World Rankings. So Joe is going to be a hardy competitor here at Balloon Fiesta this year. So we will, I'm sure, be calling out his name and many others who come into the field and score, and will throughout the week be able to let you guys know how they finish each and every day. As Art mentioned, we will be available on Facebook at Balloon Fiesta. Johnny Petrin finished 4th in 2024 World Championships, and he won the Battle Creek Field of Flight earlier this summer. He's also a past winner here at Balloon Fiesta. Just saw flying there in front of the screen, right over the rooftop. Well, they're almost to the rooftop studios here. Andrew Hawley is in Pico. Morning, Andrew. Johnny Petrin is also a 2-time world champion and 4-time BFA national champion, and he's ranked 11th in the FAI world rankings. On the women's side of things, Amanda Broderick is the current U.S. women's champion. She went back-to-back, having also won the 2023 championship. And last year's Fiesta winner, David Strassman, is a very accomplished competition pilot. He won the FAI World Air Games in 2015 in Dubai and is currently ranked 21st in the FAI World Rankings. Shani Harhus finished 3rd in the 2023 World Championships in Australia and 2nd in the 2024 World U.S. National Championships behind Amanda earlier this year. And wrapping up the female pilots, Sherry White has many podiums in the U.S. World National Championships and a 3rd place finish in the 2016 World Championships in Lithuania. She finished 4th in the 2024 Women's National Championship. And she is also an amazing gas balloon pilot. She as well was just at the Gordon Bennett and had a nice showing as they took off out of Germany and ended up in Spain earlier in September. So as they continue to launch the balloons off the field, I think they just have 1 or 2 more of the non-competitors, and they did open the field for landing, so we're going to see a couple come in. Art is on his way out to the middle of the competition field, and we're going to be in contact with him here in a second. There's not much other activity at this time, other than we're going to see some landings out here on the field. So I think I'll take a moment and talk to you about our competition for you guys that are online. And it's real easy if I can get the guys in the truck to put up we're giving away some Balloon Fiesta Live license plates. There you go. If you guys, it's real simple. If you can scan that QR code, you can scan to win. And we have 3 of these license plates that we are going to give away for today's session. I know that Art has an auto generator, and he will pull 3 winners. But now is your chance to scan it. Please only enter 1 time, because we will continue to pull from the pool of people that have already scanned. So we have 3 more of these license plates to give away. And so you can win today as well. Not only do the competitors win, but you can win today as well at Balloon Fiesta. Also, let's talk about some gear out here at the Balloon Fiesta merchandise tents. There's Darth Vader and Master Yoda, and it does appear like they're going to have some statics sitting on the east end of the field as the competitors fly in. But if we could put up the balloon stuff screen for our people out there. There's our first pilot non-competitor that took off earlier, just landed back on the field. They cleared the field to open for landings south of the competition field, so they did a nice job of taking off earlier, leaving, going south, heading up real high, heading back north, and landing grass to grass back on the field safely. So, again, it's turned out to be a really awesome day, and those competitors have since left the field and are out there looking for their perfect spot. We'll see them coming in here shortly into the field, and Art will bring you all the action live from the center of the field here on Balloon Fiesta Live, sponsored and powered by ExxonMobil. We just saw Mark Yoakum flying Rocky Top, a local pilot from Albuquerque. This is his second year flying at Balloon Fiesta. He got licensed. He got his balloon license at 46 years of age after he got hooked on a balloon ride, and he bought Air Rocky Top. He bought the balloon and just kept the name. I asked a lot of pilots before Fiesta if they could share with me who their mentor or who they really respected within the sport was, and for Mark it was Jonathan Wright and Craig Kennedy. So you'll find pilots kind of go together in cliques and groups, and you know they learn from one another. And I know when I began to fly, I actually flew with several different pilots because you learn something every single day that you go out with them. Different ways of doing things, different ways that make sense. Not that one way is better than another, but the fact of the matter is that you just see a different perspective of how they fly, what their ground operations look like, and how they put their crews together. You know, crews are an essential part of flying balloons. Without our crews, we really can't get a lot of stuff done. So it's really critical that we have these basically volunteers, usually family members or friends. I know when I began flying, my crew consisted of 2 people, and it was my mother-in-law and my at the time 7-year-old son. They were my crew members, and we would go out and fly quite often as I was getting my license. And I'm very thankful that they were there to help me achieve a dream that I had since I was a young child. There we're looking at, let's see here if I remember the name of that balloon. That is the Candy House. Makes sense. It's their first Fiesta, and it's João Padula from Brazil. So again, we're waiting for them to continue to clear the field for competition. Art will bring you all the action from right down in the middle of the field. And we're getting a little excited here to get our first day of competition under our belt here at the 52nd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. As I was saying, I reached out to several of my pilot friends prior to Fiesta and asked them 3 simple questions, to be quite honest with you. It was, when did you get involved in hot air ballooning? What was the name of your first or current balloon and why? And then who were, you know, people you looked up to or mentors within the sport? And it was really nice. You know, we're a big family, and I got a lot of responses. I probably got over 150 responses almost immediately. Not all of them were Fiesta pilots, but they all love the sport so much. And it could be a case where, you know, not everybody comes to Fiesta every year, where you then have people like Tarp Head, who has this will be his 50th Balloon Fiesta. So you have he has many Fiestas as well. But some of these people are newer pilots. They are they had been student pilots, or they could be student pilots. And I didn't preclude anyone from responding to me. I was encouraging as many people as I possibly could to give me the information, because again, we're one big family of balloonists out there. One of the guys who responded to me was Lance Terry, and he is actually an airline pilot for a major airline, and he has a passion for ballooning. Lance told me he was 10 years old when he took his first balloon ride. His first balloon's name was the Ugly Duckling, and it was he also flew a rubber ducky special shape, so he had an affinity for ducks. And his early mentors were Diane and Ronnie Carlson. So thank you, Lance, for providing me that information. We'll talk a little bit more about some other people that provided me what I asked for. And again, it's really interesting to see why people got involved, when they got involved. You're never too old to get, or too young to get involved, or too old to get involved. It is a sport for everyone. And I'll give you an example. When I got into flying and had my first balloon, my first crew chief, Alan Templeton, a local Albuquerque resident, had never been around balloons, and he grew up here his whole life. And Big Al, as we affectionately call him, became just enamored with balloons, and he still crews to this day. And if you looked at Al, you'd never know that he's in his mid-80s. He acts like he's about 10 years old. And I really looked up to this guy because he really continues with this passion, and he's out here on the field today. So you don't have to be a pilot to love balloons. You could just be a volunteer. You could be, a spouse, a family member, anyone that comes out here. It's a great event. It's an event where you're smiling and you see smiles all the time, and it's a very fun event. All right, I hear that Art is in the middle of the field, so can we send it down to Art? Does he have some information for us?
Are we going to get a PA?
Hey, Art, can you hear me?
So, Ted, I think we're supposed to get on the yep, I can.
Let's send it over to the PA for
pull this out here. I kind of lose.
Real Royal. Yeah, sure, yeah. Sorry, a little technical difficulties there. We're trying to get it over to Bill Royal, our PA announcer. They'll let me know when we're going to send it right on over to him. So back to what I was saying,
if you guys can hear me in the truck, I think this is.
All right. So again,
all right, so we're down here on the field in the middle of the target area. And we told you earlier today that there are actually two different tasks out here on the field. There are the multiple judge-declared goals, which are your typical put an X out, get your marker to as close to the center of the X as possible. The other one is the Gordon Bennett Memorial task. And what we have is a big X that we're going to measure from, but the center of the X is not the best score. There are 4 big triangles out here. Let me walk this way and show you there's one here. There's one on the other side. This is the triangle that is the closest to the center of the X.
Yes.
So the perfect score today is going to be right here. The fabric is hot, meaning that it will score. If you're on the fabric, it's good, but you have to be inside. If you're outside the triangle, it doesn't count. So the scores inside one of the 4 triangles and as close to the center of the X as possible. Again, this is the one that's going to be on the south. So if you come in, you could stop, you could throw on the first one, but even the tip of the triangle is going to be far enough away that this is going to be a better one. Of course, as you're coming by, if you miss this, you just keep getting farther and farther away. So you take the safe score coming in, or you take the high risk, high reward target for today. So the target is supposed to open here in about 10 or 11 minutes. We're going to be down here. We're going to watch the Gordon Bennett. We're also going to try and watch the X's for you as well. And we'll be calling those banner numbers and trying to give you the pictures and all that great stuff from right down here in the middle of the target area. And what a great shot of all those static balloons along the side, and of course the sky still filled with all those non-competitor balloons. We'll start seeing all those others, most likely coming from the north, although some may try and do south. go high, fly over, and come back down around. We'll be calling all of it from right down here in the middle of the competition area as competition gets underway, and again, just about 10 minutes. Ted?
Thanks, Art. Well, while we're waiting for the competition to start, I would encourage people to get lined up, probably on the eastern half of the field, because you're going to get better shots photographs because the sun will not be in your eyes or in your camera lens. And it's going to be a pretty good day out here. This box seems to be setting up very well, very much what Brad, our weather person, had said would happen. So we will continue to wait for the competition to start. And you'll know when it starts because these competitors will come screaming in here and throwing their markers as Art indicated. So with that being said, we had been talking about on the air here, pilots who had been sending in information to us about why they got involved in ballooning and what age they did. And we were talking about it doesn't matter what age you are, you're never too young or too old to be involved in ballooning. So you just look around and see some of these pilots. And for the people who are there in the crowd who are on the east side, now's your opportunity to go up to a pilot, to a crew, and talk to them about their system itself. And
those are all right.
Why did they get involved in ballooning? I see down here on the south end of the field the Plano balloon, and I know Bill Broker down there very well. And it'd be really nice if you guys went over and visited Bill and talked to him about it. I also see up in the north end of the field, there's Mike Bertetto in that pink and red balloon with the silver pennants. Mike Bertetto's a local pilot, and he named his balloon after his daughter Jennifer, and it's by the name of Nerfer. So it's really interesting to go and talk to these folks and see what's going on. We have Scott Vesley right in the middle of all the mix there in the Iron Edge balloon, which is that balloon with the orange pennants fluttering in the sky. So you will see some balloons coming in that are non-competitors. These are folks that launched earlier today in our mini Maes ascension that comes before competition. And they are cleared to land, but just on the south end of the field, not in the scoring area. And if you're going to come to the south end of the area and help people land their balloon, just a couple of things to keep in mind. Make sure you never get in front of the balloon and follow the instructions of the pilot that's coming in. If he's asking you to clear to the side or steer to the side, please do so. We want to make this a safe environment for everyone. And it looks like it's slowed down quite a bit on the deck, so you will have a very nice, smooth landing as you come back into Fiesta Field.
At least a mile away.
The competitors you will see do have to launch 1 nautical mile from the center of Fiesta Field to be able to come in and score. If the box is set up really well, they are allowed to come through as many times as they would like. If you guys notice the markers on the outside, the red tall Fiesta markers that are on each corner of Fiesta Field, sponsored by Isleta Casino, those markers signify the 75-foot rule. So as they make their approach into Fiesta Field, they must be above that marker. Once they get over the flagged area where that balloon is coming close to, but he's going to land on the outside of it, they can go as far down to the ground but not touch without being penalized. And as you can see, that balloon that's coming towards the south end of the field now, they're making a nice steady approach and then nice soft landing with lots of friends to help them when they land. Again, today is New Mexico Day, so if you're out here and you're a New Mexico resident, we welcome you. We welcome everybody out here to Fiesta Field, but you got in for free today. It's our first New Mexico Day, and we will have New Mexican entertainment on the main stage following the competition. So we're only a few minutes away, folks, from the start of our competition. It's going to be fast and furious and fun. And Art Lloyd Jr. will be bringing you all the action from the center of the field. My name is Ted Maes, and I'm up here on the rooftop studios on the south end with a bunch of set of eyes up here helping me out. and identify all these great pilots that are competing and are going to come in and score to win some big money at the end of the week here at the 52nd Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. For our folks that are watching us on Balloon Fiesta Live, we have our competition balloon. We have actually a pilot that has offered to fly a camera for us, and they will be coming in. They're actually setting up off-field right now. I can't really tell. It looks like they're just, from living here, it looks like they're down in the Corrales area, setting the balloon up. And the pilot flying that balloon is Pat Irwin from Lovelock, Nevada. He's flying the Battleborn balloon. So as that balloon gets into the field, we should get some tremendous shots for you guys on Balloon Fiesta Live. And for everyone that's out there on the field, if you would like to go back and watch today's segment of Balloon Fiesta Live, you just need to go to YouTube, or you can go to balloonfiesta.com and click the links for Balloon Fiesta Live. And we not only have today's activities there, we have the past 2 days' activities and the past 7 years of activities at Balloon Fiesta. The great thing about Balloon Fiesta Live is the fact that if our fans cannot be out here like you guys are on the field today, we have fans from all over the world and viewers from all over the world watching us throughout the mornings that we're out here in the afternoons. We've had people already today from Australia, Italy, France, the Netherlands. Actually, it's already tomorrow. It's Tuesday in Australia. So, Art always opens up with good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I say, and tomorrow somewhere. So it's amazing the amount of smiles that we have from our viewership throughout. And Pat Irwin, our pilot who's going to be flying the camera today, he's got a lot of fans right now on Facebook. We're getting a lot of Go Banner 145 and Go Pat Irwin Battleborn. But I will say go to all the competition pilots, because this is going to be fun and furious, fast, and exhilarating as they start their competition into Fiesta Field. All right, we're only a few minutes away from this competition that's starting, but for the people that are out on the field, I know that many of you have already been shopping up and down Main Street, and we'd encourage you to go to the official Balloon Fiesta tents and all of our other vendors there on Concession Row. But for the people that are online, watching us, viewing us throughout the world, we would encourage you to go to balloonfiestastuff.com. We have a QR code that's posted on our online video right now, and if you do that today, you can save 10% if you're online, not if you're in person, but if you're online, you can save 10%. You scan that QR code, put all of the items into your cart, and at the end, enter in Fiesta 24, and it will take 10% off all of your sportswear orders. So any hats, t-shirts, jackets, sweatshirts, that type of material, that will all be 10% off. It's a one-use only, and if you are a viewer online, please scan that code and go to balloonfiestastuff.com. That QR code will take you there. And if you're out on the field, why don't you go on ahead and hit either the north or the south tent. We have lots of great stuff. And I know that there's a lot of pins that are already starting to sell down. So get your favorite pins out there at our official Balloon Fiesta shop. All right, I think Art is ready to give us an update from the middle of the competition field. So I'm going to send it down to Art. Art?
Hey, Ted, we are, as we said earlier, basically standing right at the foot of one of the legs of the X of the Gordon Bennett task. That's the one where you're going to have to drop your marker in one of 4 triangles, and then we'll measure from the center of the X. But target should be opening here actually like in the next 10 seconds or so, according to my watch. But as I look up to the sky, I see that there's already a number of our competitors ready to come in. We've got Natasha Stanky in her red and blue balloon with the white arrows. She's actually already over the kind of the north end. Sean Spiker is way up there as well, and there's at least 2 or 3 other racers in the sky. In fact, Natasha's now going to fly over, so she's going to be a little bit to the east side. In fact, there's a marker coming down. So just as the target opens, here comes that first marker. It is a white or a color one. So that's the one that she wants to throw on the X. The orange one that she just dropped is going to be the one that's going into the Gordon Bennett. So that's outside the triangle. So that is not going to be a good score on the Gordon Bennett. The other one will be measured to the closest X. So here we are just as the target opens. The first competitor coming over the top of the field, Natasha Stanky, in her balloon. Here comes this racer behind me now that is green on the side. We're looking at it, but as it turns around, it's pink, blue, and red on the other side. They're going to be coming right down the crowd line, which means they're going to be a little bit too far to the east. Now, I've also even gotten reports, for those of you who know the area, that there are balloons inflating up in Placitas that are planning to see if they can't make the direction in here. We'll have to wait and see. You also can see that it's a little bit speedy right here at 100 feet or so off the ground. There's a throw on the X. That X is right there. So that was a great throw on the X. Here's the windup of the orange. Try and get it in the triangle. Not quite. So already 2 competitors. Good scores on the X that's right over there. No one in the Gordon Bennett Memorial yet at this point. So folks, we're up there and ready. And I think there's the other racers that I was watching out there are already maneuvering. They were a lot closer to us. They went up to get a little farther north. They're going to try, because they're too far east at the moment, they're going to try and get some wind to get a little farther west to get a better line on this Gordon Bennett Memorial. Now, of course, since there are 2 tasks, the best is to score on both of them. And you want to be consistent all week. You want to get scores all week. You don't have to be first. You don't have to be even in the top 5. But if you score every single day this week, then you will be up in the top 10 probably for the overall competition as we move forward. So Lottie Dottie Chicken, who is should not be part of the competition, is going to come in. But as we've said earlier, the field is open for all balloons to land, just not within the scoring area. So we've got flagging to the south of us, east, west, and north of us. They can actually go ahead and land on the other side. What will typically happen, Ted, is they're going to land between me and you won't be able to see what's going on out here, unfortunately.
Right, I actually can see Keith to Catch making a descent a little north of you there if you look over your shoulder. Several of those competitors, like you said, are making those corrections, and you're going to start seeing some of your competition friends here any moment. But it was Natasha Stanky leading the way in Wonder Woman, throwing the first markers of the first day of competition at the 2024 52nd Annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. Art, you got to get that chicken out of the way so we can get this competition going on.
So the chicken was winding up a banner, winding up a marker like he was going to throw it. Then he didn't go. But we've talked about those banner numbers. The chicken has 549 as a banner number, so he's not officially in our competition for today. But these guys try this all the time anyway, and it's great fun. But they'll mark that. If he were to have thrown that marker, they would mark it down and say, oh, he's not in the competition. So, hey, you were this close, but doesn't really count for you. So, but he's going to actually land right down there in front of you, it looks like, at the moment.
Yep, they're coming right my way. Into the loving arms of many, many, many helpers down on the field. and there they are. And Art, you're correct. Now I have a giant chicken in front of me, and I cannot see any of the competition.
I told you that would happen.
For our viewers that are on Balloon Fiesta Live, we are now seeing our pilot that's going to be carrying a camera into the field, Pat Irwin in Battleborn, going hot. So we should see Pat in the general vicinity shortly. In the meantime, we see several of the competition balloons that have already lifted off that are probably, if you're looking at the competition field, they're over your heads and over your right shoulder if you're facing west. Art's looking straight at them into the sunlight, and they should be making their way into Fiesta Field momentarily.
Ted, there are a number of racers off to the east that I continue to take an eye and see what's happening here. There's one coming, not a racer, but the yellow, red, and black one. That's Mike. I forgot Mike's last name, starts with an S. He is flying right over concession row. In fact, he's going to go right into the sun from my point of view. And we've got a yellow, orange, and blue kind of stair-step pattern coming over us. Still pretty high. You can throw from any altitude. The issue you have when you throw from high is that the marker continues that momentum for a while. So you have to throw or drop the marker well before you get to the target so that that momentum carries. If you're closer to the ground, obviously it doesn't take as long to get to the ground and it doesn't travel as far. But he may be one of our non-competitors that's just going to fly by over the top. And we'll continue to watch mostly, well, no, directly out to the north and directly to the northeast. So that's kind of where I see what appear to be our competitors. The ones that are to the east are going to have to work a little bit to get far enough west. But let me see. Yeah, Sean Spiker, who's out there, he's got it a little farther west.
Yeah, if you look if you look to the left of him,
it's doable because it's doable, Ted, because some that were farther to the northeast are now directly north. So they just have to all figure that out. So it may be a little bit before they all get here, but it's definitely doable up there to be able to get to the target today.
You are correct. If you look at just to the left of Sean up there, you see Keith to catch. He's a local pilot. I think we interviewed him earlier in the week, and he's leading the local ballooning club, Quad A's standings at this point. He's to the left, and he was where Sean was about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So he's made that adjustment, and he's just dead north of the field right now. So we've started our competition on day one of competition at the 52nd annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. The competition pilots are doing their best at this point to get back into the field. And Art Lloyd Jr., my partner in crime, will be right in the middle of all of it, giving you the video as they make their approaches into Fiesta Field. With probably some of their other friends who were flying earlier that are non-competitors that are allowed to land on the field now, but out of the scoring area. For our viewers online, we're looking at the back of
every direction you look, there are balloons, Ted.
Yes, they're going every different direction. For the viewers online, you're looking at currently right now on the ground at Fiesta Field, Sir Mix-a-Lot, the new Duke City Ready Mix special shape, and we talked about that quite a bit on air already, but to give you guys a perspective of, you want to share with them, Art, how many yards or actual cement trucks go inside of that one balloon?
Yeah, Ted, it's like 3,800 and some, so just under 4,000 yards of concrete would go inside that Sir Mix-a-Lot. And actually, just to the left of that from your shot, Mark Trianis is actually standing up Zozobra as well. And, you know, we've talked a little bit. Zozobra is Old Man Gloom. And for 100 years, they set up Old Man Gloom in Santa Fe in the early part of September, and then they have this celebration as they burn him and burn all of the bad feelings and bad experiences. Basically, let's burn Old Man Gloom and just make all the bad stuff go away. And so, of course, as he's burning, he moans and he groans and he makes all these noises. And they're actually playing a recording of all of those groans and moans as they stand up Zozobra today out here on the field, right next to Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, it's a great shot we have online for all of our online people. And for the people on the field, it's a special treat. It's a brand new balloon. And yesterday took its maiden flight. And what better place to do it but at the 52nd annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And in talking with Mark, I've done some shapes.
Speaking of your...
Go ahead.
I was going to let you finish. I was going to talk about Smokey and Cord, but go ahead.
Okay.
Finish up the Mark story.
Yeah, I was just going to say I spoke with Mark because I've flown some shapes in the past as well, and typically some of these shapes feel like when you're a pilot and you're inflating them and you go hot, it feels like it feels like almost like a wet sock or a mop trying to get into the air. And I asked Mark how it felt for him, and he kind of thought for a second. He looked at me and he said it felt like a cinder block. So that was a strange analogy, but if that's what it felt like, that's what it felt like. So back to you, Art. What were you going to say about Smokey?
Well, you were talking about Zozobra making its maiden flight here yesterday. Of course, Duke City Ready Mix, the Sir Mix-a-Lot balloon, actually made its first flight in Albuquerque just a couple of days before Balloon Fiesta got started. Smokey Bear, its first flight and first inflation the day before Balloon Fiesta started. And the first appearance, the first public appearance of Korg, the big dog toy, which is down there in the southeast corner of the field. All of those brand new balloons, I mean brand spanking new balloons. First inflation of all of them. The first one was Zozobra, which was about 3 weeks ago. Many of these others just within the last week or so. So what a great show you're getting here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And just a preview of Thursday and Friday's special shape day, where we'll stand all those special shapes up in the mornings on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll stand them up and glow them on Thursday and Friday evening. As I turn around and take a look, all those balloons that are up there now trying to maneuver their way in towards these X's and towards the Gordon Bennett Memorial here. They're all getting closer, and they're all getting a lot more maneuvering around things. And so, so we are watching for those competitors to come in. And, of course, you want to make sure that you are paying attention as you come in and have your balloon under control as well. So kind of a little... But it is still definitely quick. Right at the surface, I can still feel the breeze on coming into my back, and it's certainly for a couple of 100 feet up there for you to be able to come in. You're going to be moving fast. In fact, this yellow and a couple shades of green one coming in over my right shoulder here, you can see that he's moving fairly quickly. And if you were to check the flags on the far west side of the field, you see that they're not totally straight, but they are definitely moving along kind of brisk.
Art, we're getting a great view of our pilot coming in the Nevada battle balloon. It looks to me like they are coming in straight from the northwest of us, so we'll see them up here in a second, and I'll let you know where he's at. I can actually see Zozobra from his shot. Looks like one of your first competitors coming in to score, I believe, right behind you there on the north end of the field.
So that would be the yellow, orange, blue, kind of the stair step It's a Viva pattern for those of you who know what we talk about. It's a little more bulbous, making a drop in, getting a little more altitude. We'll watch and see as they just get to the north end of the scoring area. I don't see a banner number, so I can't help you with the identification of it. Remember, there are 3 X's out here. 2 kind of almost where that one is, one on either side of the road. And then we're standing right next to the Gordon Bennett triangles.
Looks like he's got a good shot at one of these X's coming up.
He's past those first X's. They're kind of waving at us and pointing. I think they're looking to land south of the scoring area. Yeah, they're pointing down there, and he has his hand on the vent. Or I should say the vent line. Yeah, they're going to drop in right in front of the Gondola Club in the southwest corner of the field.
And if you see riding right alongside of him,
somebody said on the chat room earlier.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, someone said on the chat earlier that they hadn't seen a hopper yet. If you can get the red, white, and blue one, big white equator, little red and white stripes at the bottom and some stars, way over on the west side of the field, that appears to be a hopper. So there's one that we can show folks as well.
Yeah, we got
it
right
in
the middle of the screen
off
now.
The side of the field.
Our crack camera crew has it online for everybody, and you are indeed correct. That balloon art is
the mostly yellow one coming in on the north end of the field.
Yep.
Yeah, don't you love the delay?
Yeah, it's a little difficult,
So,
but we'll work
remember,
through
they
it.
can land on the field either on the north end or the south end of the field. And so one of the balloon pilots has decided to make a landing way out there on the north end. Mostly yellow, a little bit of orange and purple, red going at the top and the bottom. And looks like a crew there waiting for them. Right above him is Sumo, which took off from the field here, went right over the top of the studio earlier this morning. So like we talked about with the ride balloons, many of those competing balloons are making that box back. Of course, this field is a great place to come back and land. Gives you that bragging rights as well for I took off from here and I landed from here.
Most people would not believe that you could go grass to grass landings in the desert. But you can here in Albuquerque.
So we want to keep an eye on this Kubitschek balloon. White with the Kubitschek logo, and then there's kind of a diagonal colors of pink and red and blue and black and yellow. Going to drop in, going to come right in over the road. I think this is going to be a great pass on the Gordon Bennett Memorial here.
And if I'm not mistaken, that could be Peter.
Controlling the descent down. Remember, they can come.
Indeed, Art, that is Peter Kubitschek.
They can come all the way down to the ground. Yep. So remember, there are 4 triangles out here for the Gordon Bennett Memorial. You have to get a red or orange marker inside one of those triangles. He's going to be right over the triangle to the west of the X. All 4 of them are good. Yeah, banner 330, 330.
That is Peter Kubitschek.
No marker. Just waving as they go by. But 330, so not actually in our competition. Too bad, because that's the best line we've seen so far.
Well, right behind him there, Art, in that Ultra Magic balloon, that is a competitor, banner number 138. That's Joseph Ladocosta. from Barcelona, Spain, his 16th Fiesta. So I think he's going to try and sneak in there.
And he did. He dropped his light color marker, and it looks to be on the fabric of the X. Now he's winding up his orange marker, throwing for the triangle. Whoops. You know, when you do that wind up type of throw, that's really tough because it's hard to figure out exactly when to let it go. And sometimes you get it caught in the wind up, you get it caught in the crown line or on the basket. So over on the east side, the yellow and orange, that's Dave Eichhorn and Marauders Mark flying for Route 66. He's going to be way off to the east. But on the west side, we've got this white and blue zigzag one. He's winding up his orange marker and keeps winding and decides nope. So I've had Andrew Hawley's little peacock balloon coming in low. A little bit farther to the west of that is the mostly white racer. That's going to be Sherry White in the Touchstone Racer. But if you take a look there, Sherry's got a little bit to the southeast. Andrew in the Peacock has got a little bit to the southwest. Sherry's moving much faster than the Peacock is. And then dropping in behind him is the regular shaped balloon with the black cross on it. That might be Tim Floyd. But there are a couple balloons that look like that. There's Sherry's throw, just off the legs of the X. Now she's grabbing the orange. She wants to get that in the triangle. Quick wind it up. Oh, and it hits off, and it's outside the triangle.
Oh, so close.
Sean Spiker has made it to the field. So again, this Andrew Hawley in this little Peacock here. So he's winding up the blue one. Throwing to the X towards us. Just for fun, he says. And a purple marker on this X. That's 134.
That would be Cody Robinson in Grand Banana from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. Sean Spiker in his racer. I know the name of his regular balloon is Gut Wrenching. I don't know what he calls. He has a twist on that Gut Wrenching for his little racer balloon. Looks just like it other than the Zia. He's coming down right on the west side of the field.
Art, that one is named...
A little far off the track for the X's and the targets.
Art, that one is named Gut Punched.
The Freedom Racer is Colin McClung. So Colin's gonna make a drop in here. He's starting to descend. He's gonna come down pretty quick. We want to make sure that we're out of the way of that. Colin again flying this blue and white racer with the kind of yellow pennants and the words freedom on it. Putting a lot of heat in that so that he stops it before it hits the ground. So they're trying to throw the white off on an X. Oh, there's the orange throw. Inside the triangle. Get a white one out. That's the one for the X. So the white one will get measured to the X, and there is an orange marker in a triangle. So far, well, actually there's one, so it looks like we might have two inside. We've got the red racer making a quick descent. You can see it's actually distorting a little bit. We talked about that yesterday, Ted. The fact that these racers, because of their cylindrical shape, can actually go up and down faster without as much distortion. That doesn't mean you don't get any distortion as you're doing that, as you're trying to make a very quick change in altitude to change that direction, to drop in. I also see Mark Sullivan. There's the red racer. It's red spiral with the black and the white and the yellow. He's out there as well. And I keep watching for Pat Irwin, where our balloon camera is.
Art, if you look out to the east right there, you see Eric Greenwood in that yellow balloon with the state of New Mexico on it. And probably right above you there, there's that racer screaming in that we talked about, how they kind of deform a little bit. But it looks like you got a nice row of competitors coming your way right now.
They are. And this one with the checkerboard pattern with the lots of blacks, alternating greens, yellows, blues, making a pretty good descent. We're also kind of watching the solid red one and code red, which is Mark Sullivan, but kind of keeping an eye on this one that's going to drop right in over the top of us.
You got a banner
There's
number
the throw,
for me?
the orange one. In the Gordon Bennett triangle, here comes the yellow marker over to an X. So two good throws from banner 144. And Mark Sullivan in the code red balloon. He's getting ready. There's his throw on the X. And that's a good throw on the X.
Art, that last one, banner 144, is Harold Kleiber.
Now he's getting ready to throw the orange one.
Harold Kleiber from Louisville, Texas, in Kubi.
Mark is just outside the triangle for the Gordon Bennett. Now the red one's going to try and wind up. Try and figure out. Those windups are really tricky to do, but that one made it inside, the solid red racer. Then we've got the stars coming in here, the red and yellow ones with the white stars. His orange marker is inside the triangle, and his white one is right off that X. He's flying one of those banners that we put up during Balloon Fiesta Siesta with the thank you to all the first responders.
That is actually William Fitzpatrick.
A racer coming down the west side, a regular shape coming right at me. I thought I recognized the balloon, not only the balloon, but the cowboy hat. So while about 150, 200 feet off the ground, you're moving pretty fast. When you get down about 20 feet off the ground, you move a little bit slower. And that's what's happening at this one that's coming right at us. There's the marker coming out of that green, multi-shade green racer. They're coming right this way. Just going to drift right down. This is the maroon with the yellow spikes and pink spikes. Nice throw on the Gordon Bennett. And a good throw on that X. Banner 114, 114. Nice pass, about 20 feet off the ground. Into the safe triangle, into the X. From way up high, that looks like J.J. Mancini's Mr. Sprinkles. He let a marker go from way up there. We talked earlier about the fact that when you're that high, the marker is going to continue its momentum. So that marker keeps coming down, and is, while he was right over the X when he dropped it, it drifted way south of the target itself. Next one in is going to be the next checkerboard racer with the white and then all the other multicolors, the orange, the red, the greens, the blues, depending on what angle you're looking at. But now all of a sudden, they seem to be drifting off to the southwest. things really change right here on the field for whatever reason. And I wish I was smart enough to know what was going on. In fact, I don't know if we can get the yellow one with the turquoise, red, and silver over there. Not 8 minutes ago, he was coming down the other side of the field. So he went back up, he went back around, and now he's on the other side. When he went down the field the first time, he was moving to the southeast. When he comes down this time, he's going off to the southwest. So the racer balloon we just mentioned, the silver checkerboard with all the other colors, depending on which way, just had a great drop on the X. Now he's winding up his orange one for a throw on the triangles. And there it flies nicely inside the triangle. And of course, they're just dropping right into land once they've gotten their X's in. Perfect place to land as well. Job done today. Fly to the targets, throw the markers, get a score, put the balloon down.
And Art, if you're out here on the field and you're helping these balloons come in, please go under the instruction of the pilot. Do not get in front of the balloons. Help guide them in. And I know down here that we want to get these balloons put up in a way so their fellow competitors can do the same thing that they are doing as well.
Two more racers lining up for a pass. Another spiral one with red, gold, and black. And then kind of a stair-step one that's actually going up higher with the blue, red, and yellow. So we'll kind of keep an eye on those two to see what happens there. The stair-step one that's going higher, I think, is going to try and get a push to the west because he's going to end up a little bit far to the east. And we'll keep an eye on this more spiral one with the red, gold, and black. Although he may be getting a little bit to the east as well. Still balloons all around us. And there's quite a few way out to the north, more slightly northeast. Well, no, kind of north and northeast both. And I just see a lot of maneuvering out there. Remember, the target is open until 9:30. That's a little less than 45 minutes from now. So they've got time to maneuver. Again, these balloons carry enough fuel to usually have somewhere on the order of an hour and a half to 2 hours of fuel. The racers, while they might carry a little less fuel, they fly a little less warm with less weight, so they still end up with that kind of time to fly. So our stair-step one, the yellow, kind of almost zigzag, but stair-step, the yellow, blue, orange, green. Going to come right in over the east side. Going to be able to check out Zozobra's head. That's banner 209. Looks like marker in hand. Yep, there's the throw on the X. That's a good throw right on the legs of the X. Now get the orange one out. Because you're going east, you got to get some wing it to try and get some distance on it. And he lets it fly, and it makes it inside the Gordon Bennett. So 209 there, Ted.
Yeah, that's Aaron.
Scores on the X and in the Gordon Bennett.
Aaron Gebhardt from Indianola, Iowa, in Step It Up. Nice score.
Well, that's appropriate because it's that whole stair-step pattern.
Yes. Now the other one behind you, the gold with the stair steps and the black and the red, that's Chengling Chen from China, and he's in his 11th year, so let's see how he scores when he comes over the targets.
I like his line. He's going to be just a little left of that X so that he can hit that nicely.
There goes one.
And there's the throw. Okay. Yeah, and so, but now he has a better line on the triangles for the Gordon Bennett Memorial. So you kind of split the middle on there. Where did that one come from? Was that his? Okay. Oh, he was going for the north one. So remember the triangles on the Gordon Bennett, there are 4 of them here. And you can drop inside any one of the 4 triangles. One of the triangles is a lot closer to the center of the X, which is where we're measuring from. You have to be inside the triangle, but we measure from the center of the X. One of the triangles, the one on the south end, is actually 20 feet closer. So that's going to be the better score if you can get at the tip of that triangle. But anywhere in the triangle is going to be a good score at this point. And we have a half a dozen at least in there, it appears to by my count. So already a very successful competition. We're not close enough to see exactly how close all those X's are and the markers on those X's are, but there are definitely been a number of them over on the west one, also on the east one as well, and there's yet another X that's a little bit south of us. And again, all these scores posted by around 4 o'clock this afternoon on the AIBF results Facebook page or on balloonfiesta.com for you to be able to check out those scores. So we've got more. Hey, here comes Rod Baca in the Farmers Insurance balloon. Flies Krispy Kreme on our Maes Ascension days, and that's the red, white, and blue one that's coming in. I believe that Rod is part of our participating in our competition.
He is. He's banner 176 Art, and he is flying cruise control, and it looks like he's cruising right down the center of the field. But like what you said earlier, sometimes when you get over the center of that field, it gets a little weird and strange, and so we'll see if he goes left or right. Currently, right now, he's coming right at me at the rooftop deck, but I'm sure that'll change as he comes further down the field.
We'll continue to watch. But, yeah, he's just off the center of the road, so kind of like our Chinese pilot was kind of split through the triangles and the X's. That's the line that Rod seems to have as he comes in. And for whatever reason, he seems to just kind of be drifting by. No big speed issues. Although sometimes that's a little bit of false perspective as they're getting closer to you. And there's the shift off to the southeast. Did you see it?
Yep.
Southwest, I'm sorry.
Yep. He changed the cruise control of the balloon.
That autopilot took him off to the southwest.
Well, the name of the balloon is cruise control, so let's see what he does.
Let's see what Rod does.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the orange one inside the triangle, so there's a score on the Gordon Bennett. Hi, Rod. Yeah, now he waves at us.
Morning, Ron.
So a nice safe throw, if you will, by Rod Baca and Farmers Insurance in his cruise control balloon. Took the first triangle that he got to, got the marker inside of it. Again, you get inside the marker, you're going to definitely be in the points here. And if you take that safe one, why not? As opposed to taking the higher risk. Yes, you would possibly get a higher reward, but a lot of times it's a better choice to make that safe one, get it in there, you know you can get it in there, and now Rod gets to fly on and go find a nice landing site. The southwest corner of the field is pretty crowded with balloons that have deflated and are now packing up. And, of course, all those folks in the Gondola Club getting a nice show as folks continue to come in that area.
Well, for all of our viewers on Balloon Fiesta Live, we just got a live view of Pat Irwin in the balloon that we have inbound, and he's still further out than what I thought there, Art. He's looks like he's going right along I-25. So I can't see him from here, but I could see what he was looking at. So we should see him shortly, I would hope.
Interesting that he's out along I-25. Last year, we put a camera up in a balloon during competition. A good friend of mine, I won't call him out here on the show, but he took off to the south because the conditions were that you could come in from the south, get over the field, drop down in, and come right back in over the target. And so the problem was he got out over the east, and he basically got out over I-25, and he just kept going and going, and he went past the Sandia Indian Reservation and ended up out there towards Bernalillo. So what we got were some really great shots of the field from way far away, and you could see what it looked like that way. But the day he flew competition, he did not get to the X. The very next day, he did not fly our camera. Wasn't scheduled to. He gets to the X and lands right here on the field. So, just go say, what happens when you when you move along that way?
Art, if you look real high to the north of the field, I think you can see John Pata in Pata Gold, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been working at left, right, center, and trying to get back down here. He's really high up there, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on him. You do have some inbounds coming in, so if you can give me some banner numbers, that would be helpful so we can let everybody know online and in person who is actually trying to score here today at the 52nd Annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil.
So I keep talking to the officials that I think we need to put banner numbers on all four sides of the basket so that no matter what side which way they're coming in, we're able to see those banner numbers and make that identification. Unfortunately, they only give them one banner, and they put it on the side of the banner that is directly opposite of where I and our cameras might be. So sometimes they have to kind of get past us. So we are watching a couple. We're watching one off the northeast side of the field, big white equator, green at the below, up and above. Unless you're on the other side, then it's red or blue. It does have I'm trying to catch, even if I can catch the registration number off it, although they're rotating. Something C is the country code. EC maybe?
I thought I saw LVC.
I think so. ECLYV. Yeah. ECLYV is the registration number. They're going to come right over. Well, they were just moving to the southwest, and now they're moving kind of directly south. 171. Big white equator. They're going to be right off on the east side. Yep.
That is Maria Canabrero.
The lighter color marker being winged over to the X. All right. So team passenger through the white marker over towards the X, and the pilot through the orange one right into the Gordon Bennett triangle. And when they're that close, that's a pretty good strategy. Versus the pilot trying to throw one, then get your hand on the other one to throw it. Yeah. So over on the west, the yellow and blue one has gone back high. He's going to be off the side, but we have a kind of a zigzag type black and white with the other colors coming around at Racer. I think he's going to be too far west as well.
Art, that one that just threw was Maria Canabrero from Spain, Ciudad Real, Spain. And the name of her balloon is No Tiene. And this is her first Balloon Fiesta, so not a bad showing for her first time out at the Balloon Fiesta.
That's a great showing for her. That's excellent. And like I said, strategy. You throw that one, you wing it and throw it over there, and I'm going to drop the other one over here, and boom, into both targets as you come by.
I have a feeling that racer we just talked about with the black and white kind of zigzag stair steps going up, I have a feeling he's going to go back up and try this again, as we're probably just a few more minutes away from a whole nother slew as the pilots out there continue to maneuver and try and find that direction that's going to give them the perfect line coming in for their throw.
Would that happen to be Steve Lombardi up there, you
Our
think?
scoring team. It could be. That could be Steve.
I believe that's who it was. And
Our
yes,
scoring team out here, Ted, is already working on sorry. Our scoring team already out here starting to measure. And again, in the Gordon Bennett, they measure from the center of that X out into the triangle. So the perfect score in the Gordon Bennett is going to be about 20 feet because that's the triangle that is the closest. If you're in the other three triangles, the best score you can get is about 40 feet. But again, there's probably about a dozen or so markers in the Gordon Bennett triangles. And so if you're in there, you're in the top 12 if you've got it inside the triangle right off the bat. Coming down the east side, kind of a stair-step, multicolored blue with some yellow and pink in it.
That's another first-timer,
That is...
That's another first-timer. That's Eric Keel from Meridian, Mississippi, and this is his first Fiesta as well.
Yeah, 024. Good morning, sir.
Eric Keel in Tropical Twist, folks.
Oh, they had to go retrieve the orange marker off the bottom of the banner. And while that happened, they drifted the entire length of the triangle on the Gordon Bennett. So not only do you have to remember to put the baggie in the truck, like you seem to have issues with apparently, you also have to be able to get to it when you need it.
This layer down here is not doing what we want, so I need his layer. Yeah.
So we've got another 3 or 4 getting close to line up in here. Got a, I always love these with all the colors in it. So green at the bottom, kind of moving into kind of a copper, then white, then yellow, then orange. Little zigzag type pattern, kind of drifting in, just coming in over the berm. A couple of racers behind that.
Yeah, we're on right now. Are you really?
And then this big white equator with, I think it might have been red and black checkerboards, although the red is more kind of a pinkish, more maroonish color. Got a couple of racers going to drop in, but right between them.
Yeah, they peek on us every now and again.
I see racers going down the far west side of the field. There's one of the Hartzell balloons way off to the west. Usually see those guys right here at the target.
I think he's trying to work his way over here, that's for sure.
Well, that one we were talking about that we thought might be Steve kind of stopped, and he's definitely got a little bit. So there's definitely still a component somewhere that will get you a little bit to the east. But right now we want to concentrate on the regular shape with the zigzag ones going up and with the racer that is kind of black, light blue, pink. We've got those two coming in. We're going to watch their lines as they come in. First one through the regular shape. They're going to be right over that X. We'll see what happens, what they do. There's the throw on the X.
That looks good.
That was a nice throw.
And now the orange marker drifting to the southwest, so they got to get the wind up. Oh yeah, get the crown line out of the way. We talked about that. And there it is. Looks to be inside. So 2 good scores for banner 129. And the racer is 086.
That last one that threw was Morning Glory Jimmy Marshall from Sonoma, California, 17th year here at Fiesta. And banner 86
right here on the surface again, things all of a sudden shifting more to the, yeah.
Banner 86 is Dream Racer Chris Smart, 9th year at Fiesta, Roanoke, Indiana.
So he just had a good job on the X. He's winding that up, that orange one up. And there it flies. And it's outside the triangle. Next one up. This multi-shades of green racer dropping in right over the road on the center. Next up, I said it. It's kind of like, you know, like we have them queued up to come in. No, they're coming in on their own timetable. Pulling on the vent line. Orange marker in hand. Oh, the white one first. White one first. Oh, this is Amanda Brodbeck. Nice throw for the X. And inside the triangle.
Yes, Amanda.
Verify that number for me, though, but 084, I believe, is Amanda Brodbeck.
Yes, and Amanda is the current U.S. Women's National Champion. She went back-to-back in 2023 as well.
Yep. No wonder she came in, made it look so easy to be able to throw towards the X and then right into one of the triangles. And obviously had those markers basically ready to go so she could throw one, pick the other one up, wind up and throw it. Hey, this white one with the smiley face, which I thought was going to go way too far to the east, is now coming right at us. 077, I think. Because he got so far to the east, now that direction to the southwest is playing off nicely. Throws the, that's looked like an orange one, which should have gone to the triangles. We might be confused on the colors because we want the orange or the red one to go into the triangles. We want the other color to go to the X. Yeah, see, and there's the purple one with a great score in the X. Unfortunately, according to the rules we were given, those are the wrong colors in the wrong place. But the 528 flyer, the 5280 flyer, that's the red one with the white, the blue, and the yellow sun.
That is actually John Schmitz from Littleton, Colorado. The first balloon he flew was actually Raggedy Ann, and we all know who flew the original Raggedy Ann. His mentor in ballooning was Dr. Carol Reimer Davis. So we lost Art there for a second, just some technical difficulties, but he'll be back to us with our crack crew. In the meantime, we will continue to bring you live coverage of the first day of competition at the 52nd Annual International Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, powered by ExxonMobil. And the winds continue to change here on field. The conditions, they were a little breezy up high, and we're still getting a little bit of north flow to the southwest. We still have some competitors out on the horizon. People are making some corrections. We have one of the Hartzels I can see that's really trying. John Pata is in Pata Gold. It's that brown with orange and gold zigzags on it, or on the west side. He's having a great view right now of the field. See who else I see out here. Let's see.
That layer where they had that layer. They had that layer. Just right even with the blazer. Yeah, the blazer balloon.
Looks like we have Jeffrey Griego up there in American Beauty, more to the east side of the field, but trying to make an attempt in. And we have one racer coming down right at the north. Looks like they're going to have a good run at the X's. But from what we've been seeing, you get that shift right on the north end of the field, it takes you west, so it really takes him over the Gordon Bennett scoring area. All right, we still continue to await more competitors into the field. If you're watching online right now, banner 51 is making an attempt into the field right now. And that is Zach Burgess from Ashland, Ohio, flying Good Question. He's right at the north end of the field. Looks like he's going to come over the scoring area. And again, we have Art there down on the field, and we got them working on his camera pack, and he should be back up with us here in a second. I'm also looking live now at our Pat Irwin live feed. And it looks like he's still fairly well north of the field at this point.
Yeah, I think you have us back, and we have you, although I can barely hear you at this point here. But we have this black racer coming in, the ZL60 model coming in.
Yes, Art.
And he's going to take. He's in a perfect place to get that direction to the southwest, and be able to come right over, drop in on the Gordon Bennett triangles. That should be an orange or red marker. Any other color is scored towards the X. So, always like watching these come in. A little burn, little vent. Make sure I got the marker ready to throw. I'm leaning out, checking to make sure what's going on. Markers in hand.
This is going to be a great score.
Oh, it bounced outside the fabric. But there's a great drop on the center of the X as well. But yeah, you know, we talked about that momentum when you throw from high. But even low, sometimes you wait too long to throw it and you misjudge that momentum. And so it actually hit the fabric, but then bounced just a little bit right off the edge.
Art, that was Zach.
If it had stayed on the fabric, it would have counted.
That was Zach Burgess in the balloon. Good Question from Ashland, Ohio, his 14th year here at the Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah, and I don't know if we had his face on camera, but you saw the disappointment when he saw it bounce out. And we've all experienced that, not necessarily that close, but we've all been, dang, I was so close.
I have definitely been there in the past, that is for sure.
So, John, me too. John Pata has gone back up. He's going to try that. We mentioned one of the Hartzell balloons who was trying to get back to the east. He has gone much higher, and he is much farther out to the north and not much farther to the east. So as we continue to, our balloon pilots continue to maneuver around,
And by my watch, we have about 15 minutes to go in our competition this morning. And certainly a number of folks who could easily get here and have a good score. In fact, let's see, they're going to be too far east. That could drop in 1, 2. Yeah, I got about a half a dozen, I count, that might still get here. We mentioned the Ultra Magic balloon that came by earlier. It was a little farther to the west. They're even a little farther to the west than they were before.
Art, I finally identified Pat Irwin in his Battle-Born balloon from Nevada. If you were to take a look at about 11 o'clock facing dead north, you'll see him up there just almost below the Hartzell balloon by about 1,000 feet. I believe that's him out there. But he's getting us some great shots on Balloon Fiesta Live of looking.
Well, I see one that's great. I do see a regular shaped blue balloon. That's too far away from me to be able to tell if that's Pat. But that, based on your description, yeah, there's a couple of racers yet below him.
Yep, we're looking live right now on Balloon Fiesta Live, and that's
so I'm kind of
definitely
keeping
him.
Well, okay. Well, I was going to say I'll wave at him. I'm kind of watching this yellow and blue checkerboard one coming in over the north end of the field. Right now appears to be on the east side. If he catches that southwest, like I think is still happening here, then I think he's going to have a good line. He doesn't want to get too much of that too early because he's just coming in over the far north road. But there's a layer there. That layer that was really fast, about 200 feet up, seems like it kind of comes and goes at this point. Balloons that are even higher, there's a vertical black with the pink and the light blue is actually going to the southeast. And then there's the spiral stair-step racer with the black and white at the top and the bottom and the orange and the yellow in the middle. They're kind of moving slightly different directions. Yeah, so the yellow and blue one we've been watching, see, it's now has dropped a little bit and is starting to move to the southwest. And go back up and maybe get a little bit more of that southeast because you don't want too much southwest at this point. And now dropping down again. Should have a great line on the X out there. Is going to have a pretty good throw to get to a Gordon Bennett triangle.
Yeah, his banner is just teasing me. I see a 5, but I can't see the rest of it. We'll know here in a second.
Yeah, you can actually see more than I can.
Our,
045.
Yeah, our crack crew just said that in my ear, and that's Sam Roby from Gladwater, Texas. So work it, Sam.
There's a decent throw on the X out there. Yeah, we've got a number of our official photographers out here as well, and they've got those nice long lenses, so they just kind of zoom in on it as well. So, yeah, so Sam just had a great throw on the X out there. He's got the orange marker out now, trying to decide whether to wind it up or crumple it up and throw it. So kind of a little bit of crumple and wind. Throws outside the triangle. So the other two we were watching, that black and white stair-step type of racer and the vertical blacks and greens and pinks, They've gone back up to see if they can get a little bit change, but they're not climbing really high, so I'm going to kind of watch and see what they do. Yeah.
Art, from my perspective, it looks like that east is just kind of gone away. If you look at the Hartzell balloon, he's now down lower towards the Bosque to the northwest of us, so he never really went up real high, never really got that northeast that he needed. But we do have 3 or 4 more that are coming in from the northeast.
Yes, I think you're correct. We have the blue balloon, which is named Orange. And then right next to it is the racer balloon. The kind of black and white checkerboard spiral going one way with the black, orange, and yellow going the other way.
That's Travis Gauthier and Corn Nuts from Waterford, Michigan. So one of the Gauthiers.
I knew I recognized that balloon. Yeah, I knew that I recognized that balloon. I just didn't remember who.
Yeah, and looking at the 2 balloons, Art, that you were talking about.
The problem is just,
that green, black, and pink verticals, and the racer right next to it, they just don't have any more east whatsoever. They're just kind of flowing southwest at this point.
Yeah, and I think they made this attempt, to kind of go up and see if they couldn't catch anything back. And it's just not there at the moment.
I do see Cameron Wall trying to do the same thing. He's a little bit more north of the field towards the northeast in Grandma's Legacy. It's that undersea water montage. We'll see what he does here. Once he goes up, we'll be able to tell if there's any more east up there to get him back towards the field. There's Travis online for all of our online viewers. We got a great shot of him.
And he's going to try and drop down, it looks like, and kind of make his path in, while orange, otherwise known as blue, or blue, otherwise known as orange, seems to be trying to go back up and come back around. But we're getting now to the point that you got to make that pass now. There's about 7 or 8 minutes left of the competition, and so you kind of got to get here, and you got to take what happens. And we'll keep an eye on Travis.
I think Travis
see what happens there.
He has a really good shot right now, especially if that wind continues to do on the field what it had been doing. He may cross right in front of you here.
Yeah, but right now he's got to go into the southeast.
It just changed.
And he needs the southwest now.
It just changed again, Art.
Yeah, exactly. So that would mean that Cameron Wall, the one with his grandmother's artwork on it, if he could get some speed and get here, he might be in good shape. The red one within the white, it's kind of a scallopy white and red and orange and yellow in. That's going to be Chuck Wiener, and or his daughter, who goes by Trixie. Her name is like Kirstland, but she has a one of those flight handles, that the fighter jet pilots. Trixie. So those are the 2 that, if I were guessing, have any kind of chance of getting here.
And Chuck may just be a little too far east at this point, to be honest with you, from my vantage point.
Well, it's going to depend on what happens, because like you said, we've watched that left and right, the southeast, southwest. We've been watching that shift back and forth over and over again. And so it depends on what happens as he gets here in the next 3.5, 4 minutes. But now, yeah, Chuck has caught the southeast as well, so he's starting to move off the side, just as Travis in the racer balloon has.
And it looks to me like
And
orange,
blue.
orange or blue is definitely now headed straight north.
Well, he's dropping. He's going to try and drop in, but if he was planning on a southeast, yeah, so he's going to drop in great, but I don't think there's the time to get here. And as we've just watched with Travis, and we're watching with Chuck Wiener, the idea of them moving off to the southeast, if blue/orange/blue catches in that, it's going to go the wrong direction as well.
Be good, Steve.
Well, Art, it looks like we have about 5 minutes left in this competition. I haven't heard anything on the radio yet, but I'm going off of where I stamped my watch.
This has
the
just
last
been
time I heard our
just an
assistant
incredible day.
balloonmeister
We missed competition,
talk
but
over the radio.
That doesn't matter. What I'm seeing down here is a whole bunch of New Mexico locals that have white sheets all over the place. I'm welcome everywhere I fly here. It looks like I've seen one or two red flags, or sheets, and a couple yellow sheets, but mostly white. It's so beautiful out here. We were able to go over the river, and now we're coming in for a landing. We're going to call it a day.
Hey, can you hear me? Can Pat hear me? Okay. We just had Pat Irwin, our pilot, flying the Nevada-born balloon. He attempted to get in here, folks, but he says he's out on the west side now, and he's seen lots of white sheets on the ground, welcoming him into the landing areas, and he's going to put it down. So he tried real hard, Art, to get over here, but Mother Nature had other ideas.
I just hope that it's not the balloon cam curse, that doesn't let those guys get to the field when we have our camera up there. So, and we are out here not too far away from the officials that will let off the smoke bomb that will officially close the competition. So, yeah, my watch is real close to yours. I have, 3 minutes to go on my watch, and I'm getting a nod from the guys who are going to send off the smoke that we're right on target with that. Travis is still playing that. Travis Gauthier is over the concession row in his corn nuts balloon, and Chuck is still working it, Chuck Wiener, in his red balloon. The blue balloon is not going to get here. Cameron Wall is dropping. He's not going to get here in 3 minutes. Something could change for Travis, and Chuck could just make it.
Chuck's looking pretty good right now.
Just like Natasha Stenke was, seconds after it opened, she's dropping a marker. Chuck might be on the other end of this, seconds before the smoke, getting his marker in.
Scoring closes in 3 minutes. Watch for the smoke bomb.
I just got word from Peg Bilson, our assistant balloonmeister, that scoring closes in 3 minutes. That was about 8 seconds ago, so we're under the 3-minute mark at this point, Art. And
yes,
I'm sure
I heard that, and like I said, we're standing here with the guys that are going to set the smoke off. So,
and I'm sure if I were Chuck in there,
Chuck's got that southeast now.
He's hoping for some wind behind him, quick.
Yeah, he's got a marker in hand. We can see the marker in hand.
Our crack camera crew here at Balloon Fiesta Live has an awesome tight shot of Chuck.
It's gonna be a question I'm gonna have to ask the scoring officials. When you're playing like basketball or football, if the ball is in motion when the gun goes off, it still counts, right? So if the marker is in motion, does it count? And there is his marker on the X. Let's see where that falls. Well, he's in the scoring area, so that's getting a marker in the scoring area is going to help, especially on the X, because they'll measure it out that far. I don't believe he'll get anywhere towards the there's his orange marker. That's going to be quite a ways away from the triangle, but he's in there. He's the scoring area, so he's continued to make that work. So,
hey, a score is a score, right? He'll take the points.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's on day one, which means that all he has to do is continually score every single day, and he'll be there. Because there were a whole lot of folks who tried really hard and for whatever reason did not get a score today. So Chuck is up there with quite a few folks near the top of the leaderboard. You just can't recover from a no score.
Well, we're coming really close here, Art.
They're actually opening up the smoke containers here now. And there it is. There's the smoke calling us to the end of our competition on day one here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Well, thanks to Dale Patton, safety officer, and Will Mantis for making sure that that yellow smoke is flowing freely at the middle of Balloon Fiesta Park. I know that wraps up the competition for the day. I'll be waiting for Art to join me back up here on stage. In the meantime, I'd like to continue to talk about pilots who have submitted information to me. Even though they could not be here, they may have flown in Fiesta before or had a dream of flying in Fiesta. I have one from upstate New York, Megan Quinn, and she got involved in hot air ballooning when she was 21, and she was not licensed till 26 or 27 because she had kids. And that's a great thing because now she has instant crew. The name of her first or current balloon was Frankie, named after Frank Sinatra, of all people. And they've also named it Fly Me to the Moon, is one of her all-time favorite songs. I asked her who her mentor was in hot air ballooning, and she says Penny Christie gave me her first flight and paid for her to go to ground school and got her a fantastic deal on her first balloon. So, hey, thank you, Meg. I really appreciate you sending stuff in to us. I know you, at one point or another you're going to want to come out to Albuquerque and fly with us here in the land of enchantment and be part of the Fiesta. Let's see. Let me do one more here. I got several from folks that had sent it in to me.
Thanks. Good. Having good fun?
We actually have one of our volunteers here, Monica Gennard.
Good stuff.
And she actually got involved in ballooning when she was 5 years old. And she started as crew in 1972. So 52 years ago, when the Balloon Fiesta started, is when Monica Gennard got into it. The name of the family's balloon was Whisper, and it was a 1974 Semco Challenger that they purchased in 1976. So, Monica, you're really dating yourself. And her ballooning mentors were her mother, Judy Huth, her father, Robert Bob Zanella, and Beverly Zanella, and Keith Zanella. All right, so we wrap up the first day of competition here at the 52nd Annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. It was a great day for flying. We had mini Maes ascension, as we talked about this morning, and everybody left the field to allow our competitors to come in, and our competitors did a best job as they could. Natasha Stanky, a local pilot from Albuquerque, opened up the scoring for us. So, of course, you did, Natasha, in your balloon Wonder Woman. So we thank you for that. We still have some people trying to get in here. Cameron Wall is still trying, I think, get in the field here, at least to land, because it's always nice to go and land on a nice grass field in the middle of the desert. That's not a bad thing. So I'm just waiting for Art Lloyd Jr., my broadcast partner, to join me back up here in the rooftop studio. Until he does, let's just talk about, if I could get the guys in the truck to put me up the fiestastuff.com slide for us. So you can still get a great deal from balloonfiestastuff.com. If you scan that QR code, you can buy anything and get 10% off all sportswear off of your order. And all you have to do is you scan that QR code. It'll take you to the website. You choose your items. You download it into the cart, And before you check out, enter in Fiesta 24, and that will allow you to save 10% off on your entire order of sportswear. So that's hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, any apparel is considered sportswear. You can still buy the pens and the calendars and other things. You just won't get the 10% off on it. And if you're coming to Albuquerque, you can do it now and have a local pickup done. And if you're not in Albuquerque, then what we will do is we will ship it to you for a nominal shipping fee. Okay. All right, so again, that's balloonfiestastuff.com. Save 10% off. Use Fiesta24. Scan the QR code. Get your stuff. We had our first weekend full of people, lots of fun, so we don't want to run out of merchandise. So log on today and get your shopping done. I'm going to send this back to Art Lloyd Jr. down on the field so we can wrap up the first day of competition. Art, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Ted. What a great day we had down here on the field. And, of course, we're going to be looking for those results. But lots of different strategies, lots of interesting different throws, those types of things that came across the field as we had multiple judge-declared goals. Those were the X's. They could throw any color marker on those X's. And then we had the Gordon Bennett Memorial. We put an X out, but we put 4 triangles around them. One of them slightly closer, actually about half as close to those to that X as the others. You could score on any one of those, and a number of people did. There is one other quick piece of business that we need to do, and we need to pull our license plate winners for this morning. So I did that, and I'd like to congratulate Steve Russell from North Canton, Ohio, Holly Roqueford from Corrales, New Mexico, where some of our balloons went on Saturday, and I think a few might have gotten there today. And our first international winner, Colin Wright from London, England. You are the 3 winners of our Balloon Fiesta Live license plate replica. To enter our contest, we have a QR code. Hopefully we'll be able to throw that up there. I won't be able to tell you whether it's up there or not. Scan the QR code, get your entries in. Only do it once. I had to take a duplicate out last night. Sorry about that. Only do it once. We pull 3 names every single session of Balloon Fiesta Live, and we'll award those 3 license plates to you. And what we'll do is we'll be in touch with the winners after Balloon Fiesta. I'm just a little busy with Balloon Fiesta to make sure that happens this week, but we'll be in touch next week about verifying your address and getting your Balloon Fiesta license plate to you. So again, the QR code, scan it, and put your name and contact information in there. We ask a few other questions. It's just kind of nice to know what you're thinking about Balloon Fiesta Live. And then tune in tomorrow morning when we'll draw 3 more names and award 3 more Balloon Fiesta license plates. You don't have to be watching to win, but of course, we love to have you here on Balloon Fiesta Live. So, Ted, I think that's going to wrap it up for our coverage today. Thanks to everybody for joining. Remember, you can go back and relive all of this on balloonfiestalive.com or balloonfiesta.com and look for the live stash stream. So I'm who? I'm Art Lloyd Jr. That's Ted Maes up there on the roof. Folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Always in October and always in Albuquerque. This is the 52nd edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, the world's premier ballooning event. Want more balloon action? Visit the archive of Balloon Fiesta Live broadcasts at balloonfiesta.com. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live. This program is a production of AIBF Inc.
Let's say you're deep in a show, or a game, or the game, on a train, at home, at work. Okay, maybe not at work. Point is, at Xfinity, we're constantly engineering new ways to get the entertainment you love to you faster and easier than ever. That's what I do. Is that Love Island?
I got it,
Come to Carlsbad, New Mexico and explore the breathtaking caverns, but stay a few days. See what else Carlsbad has to offer. Discover the natural beauty of the Pecos River, rent paddleboards or kayaks, and enjoy the beach. Spend the day at the water park and splash pad. Play a game of miniature golf, beach volleyball, tennis, or pickleball. Explore the hiking trails around Carlsbad. Head indoors to tour the Carlsbad Museum. Make Carlsbad, New Mexico your destination.
Fans know better than anyone that the Great Southwest is a widespread land of natural beauty. Headquartered here in Albuquerque, Accident Insurance Company has proudly expanded our workers' compensation solutions across 14 states, including the rolling plains and towering mesas of the Southwest. Over 2 decades, we've been growing our influence, coverage, and the community of those we serve. Our passion and commitment have made us the leading workers' compensation experts in the United States. Visit our website to learn more today.
My explorers, would you work for this view?
Done.
Could you take this on?
Go! Here we go.
Have you felt the heat?
Oh, yeah.
Or moved to the rhythm? Did you experience it, share it, embrace it, laugh about it?
Yes.
Okay. Did it change you? Perfect. That's what Albuquerque does.